Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 12 of You're the Best podcast. My name is Gina, and I'm the host. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It has been absolutely disgusting in Connecticut this week. It has been very hot, 102 one day, humid. I've been cranky and tired, but today we got a lot of rain, and it already is feeling better. So thank you, rain. My guest tonight is someone who is just a great person. She's a nurse, and she's going to be talking to us about what it was like being a nurse through COVID. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
I hope your week hasn't been as miserable as mine, with just the way my body has felt.
Yeah. It's just the weather is so crummy.
Ugh.
So it's just, I think we're New Englanders. We're used to just very labile weather. It's just,
Seriously.
we just go with it. I mean, it's fine.
It's horrible. Most people are just like, oh, I'm just really cold or I'm just really hot all year.
Mhm.
We're like, we don't really know.
Yeah.
We
can't-
bring jackets in the summertime because we don't know what will happen.
We never know. It's great.
It's great.
Yeah.
So as always, I like to start out with the gratitude section. Is there something that you're grateful for today or every day?
So I think I'm just grateful for you giving me this opportunity to let me tell my story of being a COVID nurse, and hopefully, you know, some people could relate to it or understand a different side of it. And thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks.
I'm actually grateful for my mom today. I mean, I should be every day, but you know, she usually helps me whenever she can in any way,
Mhm.
you know, even if it's just like mentally, you know, and this week she was really coming through for me. So thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. That was sweet.
Thanks.
It's gonna make me probably cry already.
It's okay. It's okay. We can cry. You know, I haven't really fully cried on this episode. I mean, on this podcast yet. So today might be the day, and I'm okay with it.
I can feel it already.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's been that
coming.
week, like where
It
it's
is.
just been very emotional. I know why. I was telling you like through text or whatever that it's the anniversary of my grandfather passing, which some years I do okay, and I think like this year I don't know why. Like it was the day, and I was like, okay,
All right. I need to go to work or do something, but I can't really.
yeah, like just waves, and I'm like, oh my goodness. So
Ugh.
hopefully it will pass. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's all good memories, but it's just like, you know, you want to like relive them and go back in time and do them
Yeah.
again, and you know, but it's okay. It's you know,
hard.
it's part of life. It's hard.
It is.
Yeah.
I
So-
get emotional thinking about my grandfather too. It's like
Mhm.
when his anniversary date comes around,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
Because also he never like met my husband. I'm just like,
Oh.
I knew they would have been like really good pals.
Yeah.
So like that makes me emotional too. And of course my daughter, but like mostly
Right.
him because like he was the closest to that time,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah. I know it's hard. It's, you know, you think of those moments, but it's tough. You just got to remember them in different ways. Like I wear an anchor because he was in the Navy, and
Oh.
I wear an A around my neck because his name was Arthur. He didn't like
That's really
tattoos, so
sweet.
I couldn't tattoo anything about him on me.
Ah.
So
You have to respect him, especially because he's
Yeah.
not around. Like, damn, I can't
No.
even talk to him about it. Like,
No.
I can't even negotiate.
No. He'd be like, absolutely not. Do not even go. I got my nose pierced in college, and I came home from Easter, and he was like looking at me. He goes, "What is that? What is that on your face?" And I know my mom like pre-warned him, and I couldn't sit at the Easter table and eat dinner because he didn't want to look at my face.
Stop it.
Yeah.
I will sit away from you. I'll sit
Yeah.
on the same side, but away from
Yeah, I had to go eat in the living room like a peasant because my
Oh
nose
my
was
a peasant.
eating like with the plate on my lap. Like
This
this is
is
great thing.
you did this to
Easter.
yourself. You
Yeah,
did
I did. I was like, okay,
Okay, thanks, Graham.
yeah, old
But I love
school.
you.
I love you. Old school values. Yeah.
It is really weird.
Yep.
Imagine, like, sometimes I think about like what they like have lived through.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, Jesus, they were so weird back then. You guys were so weird, and then you just adapted to these like
Mhm.
newer ages. Like,
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
It'll be us, but like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been through, I mean, if you think about it, they went through like World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, the Great Depression, the stock market crash. Depends on how old you
Mhm.
are.
The
Yeah.
70s.
The 70s. Yeah.
And the ugly hair 80s.
80s.
And they're still thriving. So.
Living the dream. I mean, they got to see like America build up and go through all these. I say to my grandma all the time, I'm like, you saw the coolest stuff. Like you saw the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Like that's so cool.
Yeah.
This guy got to see like the 90s, which
The
were
90s.
cool-ish.
The early 2000s were still okay. But
Yeah.
then once it got like towards 2010, we're just like,
Well, what do we
Not as
call it?
cool.
Like the 20-teens? Like
the 20 I've
20
always
teens?
wondered what that time period is really called. I have no idea.
yeah, just not good.
The ugly ones.
The
We want
ugly
the
ones.
fun ones.
Yeah.
I would have loved to go back in the 70s. That would
Yeah.
have been cool.
Yeah.
To like disco parties. Like,
Yeah.
how cool is that? I don't know.
I want the 50s, like doo-wop.
Ooh, that's cool
Yeah.
too.
And like go to like an ice cream parlor, like in like my really cool, like, what are those like big cars called? Oh, not the Beverly Hills, but they were like
I know which ones you're
the
talking
big
about.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just like with like the big bucket seats, like the big wheels,
Yes, with their big skirts.
their big skirts. Just big, like Grease. Like,
Yes.
what's it to you, stud? You know?
That would have been fun too.
Yeah. Now we just swipe and it's just like, I liked your photo today. I'm like,
how boring.
the worst.
I need a little bit more excitement than
Yeah.
that.
A little bit more effort.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, you know, they're cool. We're not, I guess.
Yeah. Next time
Next
I'll do
time.
it again. I'm going to pick a different era
There you go.
for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming. I'm
Sure, of
really
course.
like interested to hear about your journey. I know
Mhm.
that sounds so, but I'm really excited to hear about it
Yeah.
and about what's been going on with you the last year.
Yeah.
It's probably been really intense.
Yeah, it's definitely been a ride the last year, and the journey of nursing has been not very stereotypical for me. Like so I always start off of being like, oh, like I always wanted to be a nurse, and it's true. I was actually, when I was a kid, I had this blood disorder. It was called ITP, which stood for idiopathic thrombocytopenia purpura, and
Right.
yeah,
Right.
note it.
Got it.
It's just like this really strange kind of thing. It's not very common. And basically how the doctors explained it to my parents was that there was a virus. I was fighting a virus instead of it fighting myself, or instead of my body fighting the virus, it started to go after my platelets. And your platelets help keep your blood clotted.
Yeah.
So over the course of a couple days, I was breaking out in bruises. And now my family calls me Grace because I have no grace. I trip, I fall, I break things. I'm like, oh my God. And like, it's
all right. I'm right there with
no
you.
grace. Yeah. Klutzy to another degree. So my dad, I remember he being like, are you falling at school, or like, is somebody hitting you? And I was like, no. So then my mom was giving me a bath, and she said like the bruises were popping up.
While you were taking a bath.
While I was taking a bath. And she's like, you're just talking, but your eyes turned yellow and you got sores on your mouth.
All while you were in the bath?
In the bathtub.
Like sores just like started popping up. That's like terrifying.
Mhm.
Like, oh my God.
This kid is unwell. Like
Like,
something.
right? Like imagine being your mom, like
Yeah.
looking at you at that point, like,
yeah.
are you going to morph into something
Yeah.
right now?
It's the blob. It's just like taking over her body.
Right?
Like, what do you do? Just pure fright. So she
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah.
How
So,
terrifying. At least
terrifying.
you were in good spirits, though. I mean,
had no idea. She's like, you're just that, like, no changes in personality. She just
Great.
like, you're just going with it.
great.
It's like, okay. So at the
Alright.
time, my aunt and my cousin lived with us. So she called my aunt upstairs, and my aunt's like, she doesn't look good. Like, you should probably bring her to the hospital.
Oh my God.
So my mom isn't really like a frantic person. Like, she's pretty level-headed.
Mhm.
And she's like, let me call the pediatrician, because it was late at night. And the pediatrician just said, bring her in the morning. She's probably fine. But that motherly instinct, which you innately have, all mothers have an instinct.
Yes.
Okay, so you know how moms always say, oh, we don't have a manual. I'm like, no, but I think you do internally. Like,
Internally.
you refer to page
Yes.
62 and like you just know what to do. Like, just moms know what to do.
Yes.
So she just was like, no. And my parents put me in the car and they brought me to the hospital. And they took one look at me and was like, this kid is sick.
Oh,
And
no.
yeah, so that's how they found out. So they did a whole bunch of blood tests, and it was like the early 90s. So I remember my parents being concerned about they were talking about a blood transfusion in the early 90s with like the AIDS epidemic.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
Like a few people may have gotten AIDS from a blood transfusion.
But that's a few too many. Like
true. Yeah, I'm like
in a mother's mind, especially
Yeah.
when we're at the ER, like no.
It's one too many.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
See, it's a different perspective.
Right.
Like allegedly.
Jeez.
Allegedly.
She must have been freaked out. Ugh.
Yeah, my parents really were nervous, and I remember them throwing the word like leukemia around, and I just
my
remember being like
God.
leukemia like wasn't good, and I was like, oh God, like you're like 8 years old, and you're like, is this my demise? Like this is really like I was a pretty aware kid, like I was like an old soul, so like I was just like, this probably isn't great. Like this is
At this point.
At this point, this doesn't look great.
I feel so bad. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
But after I had to get this medication called gamma globulin, and again at like the age of 8, I had to like remember this stuff to be like,
That sounds like what you would morph into.
yeah. She's a gamma globulin.
Okay, cool.
I do
Just
it.
shove it in.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is it. That's how she's gonna live forever as a gamma globulin.
That's it.
It's something from like Stranger Things
On
on the other side.
In my mind, what I'm picturing when you were saying you were like morphing into something else, I'm like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
it. Stranger Things.
Yeah, that was me. That's probably why I love the show. It was me,
Right?
Yeah, in '94.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel connected with the monster at this point.
Yeah. They're not that bad.
No, they're not.
They just need like a little medication. They'll be all right.
They'll be fine. Some blood, some
blood.
medication.
Yeah.
No big deal.
No
A
big deal.
sacrifice.
Yeah.
At that point, your parents are probably just like, sure, let's
Yeah.
sacrifice something, whatever it's going to take.
Just to switch this around.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
So you had to get a one blood transfusion, like multiple? Like
No. So the gamma globulin, they did that first.
Okay.
And it helped bring my platelet count back up. So I didn't have to you could actually get platelets transfused into you. And I didn't have to get that either. I didn't have to get blood or platelets, which was nice for my parents. And like actually our town, because we're from the same town, a couple of the mothers actually offered to donate blood.
How nice.
Yeah. So that was very sweet.
So you
of
knew
them.
it was clean blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know
Like
what clean
safe.
blood is.
Yeah. Screened.
Right.
I
That's
don't
so
know.
nice.
That was very sweet of them to do that. So, but at that time I wrote in my little journal, which I still have the excerpt, and it was like, when I grow up, I want to be a nurse or a doctor so I can help people who are sick. Yeah.
How nice.
She was so sweet. She used to be so nice. So innocent.
She was so innocent.
I want to do this.
Wait. What's the difference between like a blood transfusion and platelets? Like, what do platelets even look like? Does it look like blood?
They're yellow. It's actually like a yellow bag. Yeah. So the platelets.
I've never heard of this before. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So I hope like I don't stand corrected and someone's like much smarter than me is like, that's not how it works. But so like if your hemoglobin and hematocrit drops, all different hospitals have different policies and protocols. So if it drops under a certain number, we give you red blood cells transfusion, and that's just like a straight up little red bag of blood.
Yeah.
If your platelets are low, so your platelets help you clot.
Yeah.
So if you're not clotting your blood, and a lot of people have thrombocytopenia, which is like it's a platelet issue. And if your platelets are too low, you could bleed out.
Jeez.
So that was the scary thing, like with me as a kid. So they said that if I fell asleep that night, I would have died in my sleep if my parents didn't bring me in.
Oh my God.
Casual.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Love your pediatrician. No big deal.
No big deal.
Jesus.
And if I fell going into the car, if I hit I would have bled out because there was no way my body would stop myself from bleeding.
Ugh.
That's why it's so critical.
I have so much anxiety. Just
Yeah.
like it's not even. It's like over and done with, and I have anxiety thinking
Yeah.
about this. Wow.
Yeah, and I remember being in a padded bed, and I remember them giving me muscle relaxers because I remember I woke up. I woke up. 8 years of education. I woke up, and I woke up, and I remember thinking I was paralyzed because I didn't understand it. And I remember saying, I was like, I think I'm paralyzed because they sedated me because because kids are wild, they don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Or
that
even
was
if you fell asleep and you had a bad dream or tried to get up or something.
Right.
Oh my God, how horrible.
horrible. Now think about it as like a mother. They'd be like, listen, we're gonna give your kid like a sedative. Like they had to say yes to all this
We're
stuff.
literally going to knock her out
Knock
right
her
now.
out. Yeah.
But it's for her own good.
It's for her own good. And my mom slept in that hospital room with me for like 4 days. I mean, she didn't leave.
Of
She's like, I'm
course.
not going anywhere. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's
watch-
what moms do.
That's what moms do. Yeah.
Oh,
We watched
God.
TGIF. I was like, this is
Yeah.
great. Yes, TGIF.
All the nurses probably like, hey, what do you need?
Yeah.
Can I get you something?
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
Yeah. I was like, oh, they're so nice. I want to do that because they seem nice. And like, even like to this day, like I hold nurses up like on a pedestal. So even like when I'm like walking into work and I see like other nurses walking in, I'm like, you're so cool.
How cute is that?
And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, do I look as cool as them? And then I'm like,
you totally do.
I don't know. Cause I like order bags that they have. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get that bag. I'm going to get those
Oh my
shoes.
God, you're
I'm going to
too
get the headband.
much.
Yeah.
Those what Croc shoes?
The
cute
Crocs.
Croc shoes.
Yes. The Danskos, which are like the big clogs, which just never worked with me. But I
The clogs, man. That's like the infamous like nurse
infamous.
attire.
Yes, it is like you have made it when you got a pair of Danskos that are like $120 and they take like
Oh,
6 months to
Jesus.
break in. They're the worst. I hate Danskos.
Oh my God.
I wear New Balance like
Oh,
a
yeah.
42-year-old dad.
Oh yeah.
Just like,
Oh yeah.
New Balance.
I saw one of my friends recently got a pair of like the white dad ones. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, cutting the grass.
10 years? Okay, cool. Not right now.
They're just got such good support and comfort.
Dude, I love New Balance shoes. They're my favorite
Me
sneakers.
too.
Favorite.
I love them. Out of all the shoes I use, like New Balance, I even bought like 2 like backup pairs just in case they discontinue them.
Just in case.
Panic.
You're allowed to wear sneakers. You don't have to wear Crocs.
No, you could wear
Yeah.
whatever you want.
Oh, good.
For some reason, I think like they don't like you to wear the Crocs with the holes in them.
That's what I would think.
yeah, but
Okay.
some people do. I mean, I guess it just depends on
Where you're at.
where you're at.
If you're going to get bodily fluids all in your feet or not. I mean,
I mean, I'm not
No big
into that.
deal.
I mean, some people like it. I'm afraid like a needle will fall and like stab me. That's like what I think in my head. Like,
definitely
yeah,
worse than bodily.
yeah. My fear is a needle stick.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Have you ever gotten stuck by a needle
Yes.
accidentally? Oh.
Yeah, I actually had a patient in a nursing home and he was a little crazy and I gave him his insulin needle and he took it out of my hand and stabbed it in my hand. And I'm like, this is it. This is how
This
I'm
is
going to
it.
get HIV.
This is
For
it.
sure. For sure. And
so then obviously you have to be sent home, tested, and whatever, right?
process. Yeah, you have to take like antivirals for like a month.
Yeah.
Yep. And you got to get blood work for like 2 years and then you can't be like, they're like, don't sleep with anyone for like a good like couple months. And you're like, all right.
Maybe a couple years. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll find out.
It's a really slippery slope right now. And you're just like,
Jesus.
the person has to get tested. Like you get tested. Oh,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's a
God.
process. So luckily that was it so far.
Hopefully that's the last one.
That's the last one. It's inevitable. You're gonna stick yourself. But they have a lot of safety stuff now, like with needles and like
They retract.
they
now, right?
retract and good technique. Like you have to kind of be on your game at all times. Like
Yeah.
you have to treat everyone as if they have HIV or some sort of spreadable disease,
Could be
like
anything
with
at this
anything.
point. It could be some new pandemic we don't even know about yet.
Yeah,
That's
you
just
just-
in somebody's body.
It
You
could
just
happen.
never know.
Yeah. Just like I don't want any of that.
I don't want anything.
No.
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 Not even your clean blood.
Not even your clean blood. Nope. You could be a certified donor. I don't want it.
Don't want it.
No. Not this way.
Well, that's a really
Yeah.
nice,
Sweet story.
Well, it's like an inspirational story,
Yeah.
Like you needed the help, and then
Mhm.
you wanted to help other people. That's
Mhm.
really nice.
You kind of give back.
You
I
give
think.
back. So you basically have always known you wanted to be a nurse, pretty much.
Always. Because I also always just idolize them like on TV or movies. And then when I was in the 8th grade, my brother was like in the 11th grade and he got into a really bad accident on a boat. So he was
Jeez.
tubing on the back of a boat. He fell off in the ropes and the rope went around his neck and he was holding the
Jeez.
noose. And he like got it off his head and it skinned his ring finger
Oh my
down to the bone.
God.
And so it was either Memorial Day or Labor Day. I can't remember. And my parents and I were at a picnic. We met him in the emergency room, which he sat in that emergency room for like 4 hours, which was
Bleeding
just
out.
bleeding out. And I remember twice the guy came and like mopped up his blood.
And he still wasn't taken care
No,
of.
like,
no big deal.
No big deal.
If you bleed out, we'll just give you more blood. Just stay here.
Yeah.
It'll be clean. Don't worry.
Yeah, your sister knows about it. Ask her. You've already been through this. Therefore, we're just going to delay this whole process.
There's always gamma globulin,
Gamma
whatever,
globulin, yeah.
whatever you need.
Yeah, we'll get you there. You'll be totally fine.
Oh my God.
So he got into that really bad accident. So I remember watching him in that emergency room and, passing out and turning all different colors. And then
Jesus.
we got in the back to like the emergency physician. He was like, we're going to have to amputate this finger. And my like Italian mother, she goes, he's never going to get married. He doesn't have a ring.
Instant reaction.
Instant reaction. He's never going to get married.
He can't get married now.
What?
No.
She said, that's his ring finger. It's the most important finger. It connects him to God. Like all that. I'm like, what? Like she's just like,
I love her.
yeah.
I love her.
Yeah. When she's upset, she gets like going. Like she's like, I don't talk like that. I'm like, you do.
You do.
When you get going, it's frightening.
And you will always talk like that to me.
Yeah. It's just that's how I just interpret it in my head. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So she said no, and he ended up going up to Yale.
Thank God.
There was a hand specialist there. So, and I remember as a kid, I was only like 13, and I was like, can I watch the surgery? And they're like, no.
Nice try.
No. I was like, damn it. But I had the interest.
I was interested in that type of stuff when I was younger too.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? You're just
Yeah.
like, can I just watch?
Can I just watch?
I'm so nosy. I can't help it.
Yeah. It's just like, what's going on? Like, I always want to know what's happening behind the curtains too.
Right.
Like, what is that?
What is that?
What is
Can you
that?
show me?
Can you show me? Now, like one of my favorite things to do at work is like close the curtain. You're just like, ooh, bah, close
Nobody
the
knows
curtain.
what we're doing back
Nobody
here.
knows. Yeah.
Cleaning.
Yeah. Sometimes you just shoot the shit. Like, how's your day? Just wanted to close the curtain.
Great. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So when he was up in the ICU,
So we had to go to the ICU.
oh yeah, he was
my
in the
God.
ICU because it was like all like neuro stuff. So, and he had to get like grafts. Like he has a big scar up here. They had to take all stuff and like reconfigure his finger, and like they saved it.
Wow.
And he had like 128 sutures like in his finger.
In
Like,
one finger?
In one finger. We can't find the photos, but the
Wow.
photos were like wild. And
Yeah, because they had to take part of his
this.
skin, which is
I think
like
veins too.
veins
And
too?
veins because there was no circulation. He went down to the bone. There was like nothing left. It was all flat. It was
Wow.
a freaky, just a weird.
Not an
thing.
emergency though. You can sit and wait
Yeah.
for that though.
You can sit and wait. There was one
Oh
time.
my
The
God.
story goes, I remember like my mom's like, he's gonna throw up, and like the nurse gave my mom a bucket. She threw the bucket. She's like, there was like no getting through to this like head nurse or
Oh
whatever.
my
And there was like this like little girl like running around because she choked like 2 hours
God.
before.
Oh, good.
So they were bringing this little girl in, and my mom went in front of the double doors, and she's like, not one person is going into this room until my son is seen. I don't know how she didn't get escorted out. Like,
Did he go in next? After
I
she
don't
did
remember,
that?
but she was just like, "No, are you kidding me? Like this, she's running around. My son's
Good for
passing
her.
out. Yeah, she's.
That's
know.
another mom moment, man.
Yeah, she's like,
We're mom heavy tonight.
we're very mom heavy tonight. I'm gonna cry.
It's
just,
fine. It's fine.
yeah.
It'll come.
It will come. It will come. So when he was up in the ICU, the nurse was so sweet to me because she must have seen like the look of pure fear on my face. So when he was up in the ICU, she was like, these are the fluids that are keeping him hydrated. Like, do you want to feel his pulse? And I was like, okay. And I was
nice.
like, wow. I said, okay, you know what? Now I definitely want to be a nurse. Like, for sure. Like, this solidified it. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's how it all kind of came to fruition, was that.
That's
that
great.
moment. Yeah.
And also very nice of that nurse.
Mhm.
It's like a sensory thing for you to like know your brother's okay. You
Right.
could literally feel him. So
Yeah.
that was probably very much needed mentally
Mhm.
and physically,
Yeah.
You need the touch.
Yeah. She's much nicer to me. If I saw somebody, I'd be like, go to the waiting room. 2 doors down.
He'll be fine.
He'll be all right. He'll be okay. 2 doors down.
Is your mom here or something?
Yeah. Is there an exit you can go to?
One day you'll see yourself in somebody else.
I will.
And then you'll start crying.
Yeah.
That's it. You won't even be able to say anything.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, I gotta go.
Yeah. I am not well.
I'm not well.
I'm unwell.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I hope
Yeah.
your brother's doing better now. I hope he made a full recovery.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it took years, and then he still has like loss of sensation, and like sometimes it turns like ice cold white. But I mean, he got married. I mean, he's fine. He did get married.
He
He got married. He was able to put a ring on his finger. So, But
your mother's dreams came true.
Dreams
Everybody's
came true. Yep.
Oh
But
my
his
God.
first wedding ring, I mean, he's only married once, but the first one that he had, I don't know if it was titanium or something, but it was pulling the heat out of his finger, and he had to get a new ring because he's like, I can't wear it because it was like making
What?
it was ruining the circulation in his finger. And he's like, I almost forgot about that. He's like, I can't wear this certain metal.
Like, who would ever think about
Who
that?
would think? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he had to get a second ring.
How did he like figure that out?
I think because like when he would take the ring off, like he would get circulation back.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that would make sense, I guess. But
Yep.
wow.
Mm-hmm. So then he had to get,
Jeez.
yeah, he got his second ring. That one broke. Then he had to get, now he just wears a rubber one because it doesn't. He works, he's
I got my rubber on today.
got my rubber ring. Isn't it beautiful?
It's beautiful.
It's $2.99 on Amazon. I have a
Oh,
whole pack.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
the titanium one's in a safe.
That's it. You still have to keep it.
He has to keep it. It's where he did his vows. I mean, oh my God.
Seriously.
That's the sacred one.
Kept locked away.
Kept it locked away. So,
Wow.
yeah. A lot of the men who like work, he's an electrician, so he works with his hands. I
Oh.
think a lot of them wear the rubber ones because
Yeah.
the real ones, like I've heard so many stories, they just shatter, they break, they lose them.
They get electrocuted through
They let-
their
oh
rings.
my God,
Like,
yeah.
no,
No.
thank you.
Mm-mm.
No, he's smart. At least he
Yeah.
still wears something, though.
Oh,
he
yeah.
could very much just not wear anything.
True.
So good
No.
job, brother.
Good job, brother. He's like, if I'm keeping this finger, we're gonna keep a ring on this thing.
Everything is going on.
Everything's going on it.
I'd start painting my nails. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. He's just like, I'm gonna live my best life with this finger.
Jeez.
Yeah, poor kid. Yeah, he's
Poor guy.
he went through a lot with it, and he needless to say, he's not a boat guy.
I mean, like, you don't need a boat ever
No,
again.
not a boat guy, not a water guy.
No.
He's like, I'll stay here on land. It's like,
It's fine.
I'm good.
I'm not missing anything
It's okay.
crazy.
Stay right here.
That's it.
No boats.
Jeez.
No. Yeah, freak accidents. These are what these boys. He has a son now, and my nephew just the other day he got his first set of stitches.
What happened?
This kid. So he I get a phone call from my sister-in-law. I just got off of work. I'm just getting home, and she's like, "Hey, would you go to Bridgeport emergency room or Milford emergency room?" I go, "Are you dying or do you need stitches?" And she's like, "Stitches." I go, "Milford."
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's acceptable there.
Yeah. Like we'll get you in a little bit quicker over there. So she's like, well,
Jeez.
his name is Dante. Dante hit his eyebrow like on the corner of a table. Classic.
Aw, poor kid. I
Yeah.
mean, like, but that's very like for boys.
For
it's
boys.
very common.
Yep. 5 stitches. Poor little
kid.
nugget. I know.
Did it go through his eyebrow or right above it?
right above it?
Okay, so,
So-
at least someone have a funky eyebrow growing up.
No, I hope not. Like he might. Like I wonder if the kid. I know I'm partial because he's my nephew and my godson, but this kid's beautiful. I mean, he has big blue eyes, blonde
Aw.
hair. He is like white, like
Oh, yeah?
Casper white.
Wow.
He looks nothing like my brother or I. He is Polish all
I
the
promise he's part of us.
way. I swear. He has like my brother's like furrow. Like he'll like
Oh, good.
his like little brown. I'm like, oh, now you look like us. Miserable.
Good.
Yeah.
No big deal. No big deal.
You look upset. You look like a Piro.
You're beautiful. Just smile.
Yeah, just smile. Just try. Yeah. He was cute though. I had
Aw.
peanut M&Ms with me because I went with her to the emergency
Oh,
room,
good.
and I had peanut M&Ms with me, and he's crying. And I go, "You want an M&M?" He goes, "Yeah."
Yeah,
Oh, so cute.
of course.
I was like, "You're
Anytime
cute."
you offer any type of snack when they're
Mhm.
upset,
Yep.
yep, everything's fine.
Everything's fine. Peanut M&Ms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was just he's so like. I'm sure your daughter too has like these moments where you're just like,
I just love you so much.
yeah,
You're the best ever.
you're the best ever. Yeah. Cute. So cute.
Well, that's
So, yeah.
good.
So,
So,
yeah,
at least he's all stitched up. Hopefully, nothing more serious than that.
No, I mean, he put his head through a wall like 2 weeks prior. No stitches there.
Okay.
Kid's
Okay.
an animal.
No big
He's
deal.
he's an animal. He has like all skin knees. I mean, he's just. But my sister-in-law's really good. Like she's not one to be like, oh my god. She'll be like, you're fine. Get up. Like, she stays calm. She's like, you're all right.
That's how I like aspire to be. And then when she starts crying, I'm like, "Are you okay?
Yeah.
You're fine. You're
Yeah.
fine. But are you okay?"
Yeah. No, she's tough. She's a tough.
Good for her, though. I mean,
She's like,
when
"You're
you have
right."
boys, I feel like you have to be like
You
that
have to be a little bit more
because they just do it all the time.
all the time. He just gets into it.
Just it through a wall. I mean, I've never done that, so
Oh my god. They took a picture of it and he's like pointing to it like,
he's fine.
fine. Yeah. He's
Meanwhile,
a cute
they'll
kid.
just give us heart attacks. No big deal.
Yeah, I'm just
There
like,
you
oh
go.
my God. Like, because when I saw him in the emergency room, like, because I met her there, I was like, geez, oh my God. I was like, he'll never recover from this. I was like, I'm like looking at his pupil. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. Did he lose consciousness? Like, I'm going through, I'm like, Dante, blink your eyes. Like, I'm trying to do like all these like tests with him.
He's like, seriously?
And
Like,
she's
I'm
like-
fine.
she's
Where
like-
are the M&Ms?
Yeah. That's good enough. I had like Coco on TV, like trying to like keep him distracted.
Don't fall asleep. You can't fall asleep right now.
Yeah. I'm like, wake up. I'm like, don't do it. I was like, oh my God.
How long did he have to wait? Very long?
We were there for almost 4 hours.
Oh, damn.
And I, of course, like when I walk in there, I go, where's plastics? And they're just like, go in the waiting room. Like, I need plastics. You see his face? It's a moneymaker. It's like, this kid's beautiful. It's like, where are plastics? There was no plastics.
Of course there were.
There were
Of
no
course there
plastics,
were.
though. But I did have like the motherly, like, I felt like a first time, like a motherly instinct because there was like a drunk next door
Ooh.
and the curtain kept swaying. And I was like, all right, calm, happy thoughts. I said to my sister-in-law, I said, if I even see a finger come over here, I'm
Yeah.
going to put him on the ground.
Yes,
And
100%.
she's like, who? I don't even hear this person. Yeah.
She's very much level-headed,
So
but we are the type
Yeah.
of people that are like, nope, he's dead. He's in my mind, he's already dead.
I will fight him. I will put him down. Like an animal.
Like, and nothing's
Yeah.
even going on.
Nothing's going on. He's
Nothing.
just like in his own world. But I was like up at that point for like 16 hours. I
Oh,
was exhausted
jeez.
and I was just like, I will
Oh,
fight
yeah,
him.
because you just got out of work.
Just got out of
Yeah. Ugh,
Oh, sitting in my scrubs. I'm like, it's okay.
it's fine.
Just don't ask me to do anything because I don't.
can't do the stitches. I'm sorry. I didn't
No.
have anything.
No. She asked me to take them out. I'm like, I'm not taking them out.
No.
No.
Not on the face.
Not on the face.
No.
God forbid. I'm not being
No.
held responsible for that.
Definitely not.
Absolutely
No.
not. No.
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 Poor kid.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So-
But your family must have went through a lot during that time when your brother had his finger injury. I mean, that's a lot of recovery to go through, a lot
Yeah.
of doctor's
Yeah.
appointments.
It was a lot of, it's his story to tell. And he went through a lot with that, like, PTSD and like nightmares. And, he almost
Yeah.
drowned. He almost got decapitated. If you think about these things
Right.
of, holding onto a noose, being dragged underwater, it's probably not the greatest thing for mental health.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And his neck was okay.
His neck was okay. He had like burns, like rope burns up his
Jesus.
face,
Oh,
which
Okay.
healed, but
but still, just the whole trauma of everything.
trauma. Yeah, it's just one of those like freak accident things, but thankfully he's, still here and he's a really good brother and I lucked out, thank God.
That's really nice.
Yeah. I never wanted to like have a sister. I never felt the need to be. I never was like, oh, I want a baby sister. I was like, no, I'm good with my brother. He was
No.
always very
I never want.
Good.
I had an older brother too. I
Right.
never really needed another sibling. I'm like,
No.
this is annoying enough.
yeah. Yeah.
When we're younger and we're like arguing about stupid shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, forget it.
Yeah. You know what he was always really good at? And like I still like he won't tell me his secret to this day. He would hide food in the refrigerator and I could never find it. Like I would rummage through the fridge and I
What
couldn't
a
find
weird
it.
skill to have.
And like
What?
going through the fridge and then he would like come in and like get it. And I'm like, what the hell? He's like, gotcha. And I'm like, what the?
He's like hiding it in shit that you think is other
I
food.
don't
Oh
like
my
tape it
God.
up against the back wall. I don't know, behind like the drawer. I bet you it was behind the drawer. I don't know. I could never. He would always
Oh my
hide
God,
food in
if
that
you ever need
fridge.
anything hidden, like that's
Yeah,
your
yeah.
go-to man.
Yeah, he for sure has like criminal like tendencies.
Hopefully he's never acted on them, but I
Hopefully,
mean,
yeah, I
like,
mean,
in case,
yeah.
just in case.
He for sure has like a interesting like. Yeah, he's a deep thinker. So like
Mm.
he just would figure things out.
That's cool,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, what a great
Not for
lifestyle.
you during that time period,
No,
though. I
yeah.
mean, but
Yeah, but no, he made a full recovery, and he moved forward, and he got married because he had the finger. So
thankfully.
thank God.
Otherwise, it would have
Yeah.
been horrible.
He would've been
Never
horrible.
married. Always a single bachelor.
Yeah, just a 9-finger foe. Just living his
He's going to listen to this and be like, what the hell are you guys talking
like, you're an idiot. He's like, you have so many good stories to tell about me. He's like, you're gonna tell about my finger.
Yes.
Yes.
100% every
Yes.
time.
Should I plug his electrical business?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so if you ever need a home like reno, or if you have a business or anything like that, our Puro Electric, Stratford, Connecticut. 203-650-9216.
Oh, well,
He's a great guy.
Good to know in
Yeah.
case I ever need anything. With
Oh,
this
yeah.
beautiful podcast setup.
Oh, he will. He is like the best. Yeah.
Well, glad he made a full recovery.
Yeah.
And you all recovered from it mentally.
We did. Yeah. And it helped push me into wanting to be a nurse. Because like then afterwards, you know, the taking care of him and his bandages and like, you know, all that good stuff. And so then when I went to high school and you prepare for college, I didn't really do well in high school. I was more I just didn't like going. I think like a lot of people just didn't like going, and I just didn't take school seriously, and I just wasn't good at school, and I think I just wasn't given really great opportunities in school.
I agree.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's
Like
just
I'm just wasting my time here. I could be making money right now.
Mhm.
I could be out like living the adult life. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And little do we know, those were the most carefree years
Mhm.
we had.
Yeah. You just wanted to be 25 and
That's it.
you thought you knew it all, and you just like, what is this like geometry really going to do for my life?
What am I doing here?
Probably
am I doing
nothing,
here?
but
No.
yeah, like this is stupid. And like I always said too, I'm like, we could wrap this up in like 3 days. I'm like, why did it come 5 days a week? Like, I don't understand.
Wrap it up. Come on.
I mean, I work 3 days a week now because like you could wrap up, you know, 5 days of work in 3
Well,
days.
yeah.
Like let's get this over with. Like
That's true.
that's why I'll never work. I've never worked a 9 to 5 because I was like, I physically can't go to work every day. I didn't go to high school every day. I didn't when
I didn't either. I missed like 20 roughly days a year.
What?
I
had 127 absences as a senior. I don't
How
know.
did you pass?
I don't know. I
Wow.
don't know. I have like my report card, and I'm like, how the hell?
How did
I was never.
How were
maybe
you
it was-
allowed to?
No, maybe it's 127 tardies and like 40 something absences.
Because you were only allowed to have so many absences.
Right.
I would always like push it, like get close to
Yeah.
the edge.
Like I'm not going. And like back then, like there was no cell phones. Like I would just delete the message on my parents' answer machine. I was like, they don't need it to delete.
They don't need this.
This is ridiculous.
This is fine.
This is stupid. So. Yeah. I remember I was a sophomore in high school and they're like, why aren't you coming to school? I'm like, because I don't feel like I should be here every day. Like 14 years old. And like,
Like, who the fuck are you, man?
yeah, like,
I just don't think this is cool. I just
No.
don't think I should do this.
like, I just really think your whole curriculum is ridiculous. Like I was always a very outspoken, very opinionated person.
Mhm.
So I should have probably been a lawyer, but because I'm also very argumentative. And so like
No big deal.
NBD. And but I remember them being like, okay, we'll give you like a senior schedule. So we'll make your first and second period study halls. So come in third period. Like they're bartering with me.
They're literally like, what can we
yeah.
do?
So like third period was photo. I go, well, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna go to photo.
No. that's a
Fourth is
waste.
geometry. I don't really like geometry. So fifth period was math. But then like you can go home for lunch. So then I would just go home and I'm like, I'm not coming back. I'm already here.
Back now.
Stupid.
They
That-
did. They let us leave all the time.
Yeah.
That didn't help us at all. I'll be like,
No.
well, I'm already out, so I might as well just
Yeah.
skip the next class. Or I'm out. I'm high now because I smoke weed.
Yeah.
It's okay if I come back to math.
Yeah,
No big deal.
no
I'll
big
just be
deal.
high. It's fine.
Yeah. I just like I'm not going back. Like I'm already home. I'm already a whole mile away. I mean,
No.
it's just a lot of gas
No.
money.
Or a lot of our friends I know used to like hide in the trunks of cars to
Yes.
get out.
Yes. Yeah.
So dangerous.
So bad.
So horrible.
We are lucky. Nothing
I know
happened.
one time during the year, our senior year, I think it was, one of the neighbors around the school called. They're like, I just want to let you know every day people are dropped off in our street and they get out of the trunks of the car. And I just want to let you know that this is happening
Yeah.
because it happens like every day.
Yeah. Every day this is happening.
How horrible.
Terrible. We should just blow past the security guards. Like I'm like, what are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Run after me?
No.
I'm already
No,
down the
you're
driveway.
not, Don. No, you're not.
Ron, Don, John, Steve, and Evelyn. Yes.
Babyface Don. Like, what was he doing? What
are you
was he
What are
doing?
you doing? Big Ron. Remember Big Ron?
I loved Ron.
Ron was I think he was everyone's like just friend, and like
Loved him so
if
much.
I got him 2 bacon, egg, and cheeses from Bill's in a New York Post, right in. This is bartering at its best.
Seriously.
He'd be like, you know what I want? It's like, yeah, here you go.
I
Here's
know
your
what
stuff.
you want. I know what you want.
So high school graduation came, and I never took math in high school. So I took algebra 1 as a freshman. I failed it. Had to go to summer school.
Okay.
My sophomore year, I think they tried to put me in classes like with kids that were like a little bit more motivated because I found out when I got a higher education that our school system tracked kids. So,
right.
Yeah. And so like they had like the kids who were, dumb, moderate, smart.
Right.
So for some reason in middle school, 6th grade, I was put in the dumb group because I realized that the kids in my class were making animal noises. And I'm like, what the hell? Where are all my friends?
Right. Yeah. No, I had the same experience.
Right. So we were tracked. So then by the time I got to high school, I had like no motivation to do anything because like birds of a feather, you're going to act like an idiot. Then, so I think they tried to put me in like a mediocre group.
Right. Yeah.
And I dropped it. I was like, I don't know. So I went back to like the other classes. I had to go to like the MAC room, like the extra credit room, which, you know what? Mrs. McMahon was a light. She was a light. She was the sweetest. I thought you had experience with her. I was like,
I didn't have any experience, but that's nice to know that there was a light.
Yeah. I feel like she like understood the kids that were just kind of like floating around and just didn't really have a place academically. But so I go to the MAC room for extra help. I didn't do math, and then I took geometry as a senior because I took record keeping and accounting. That was my math credit.
They offered that?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So as a junior and senior, I took record keeping and accounting. So then like I took geometry as a senior, but I never went, so I never like passed it. So then the geometry teacher, I'm in my cap and gown, he goes, what are you doing here? And I'm like, graduating high school. He goes, you didn't come to my class.
Did you tell them that?
Yeah.
Did you tell them I didn't?
Did you report it?
Because if you didn't, it never happened.
Never happened. I don't know. And so I remember like having such stomach pains. I'm like, oh my God, they're going to like, my whole family's in the audience.
Right.
And like,
excuse me, we just need to grab Michelle from this. Thank you.
Ow.
Proceed.
Ow. Oh my God. And I remember like I opened up the thing and I was like, oh thank God. Like I saw my diploma. I'm like, well, they can't take it back.
No, they can't take it back. No.
So graduate by the skin of my teeth, but I never took math. So then when I was applying to colleges, and so I somehow like weaseled my way into WestCon. Oh, well, the backstory was I remember I sat down with my guidance counselor and I was like, so I want to like apply to college. And she looks me dead in the eye and goes, you're not college material.
Who the fuck do you think you are, lady?
Like,
I'm assuming it's a lady because they all were ladies.
It was mostly women. And I was like, oh,
that is like mind blowing for like the town we grew up in because they were very heavily reliant on like, okay, you're going to college. You really don't have any other choice. And if you're not going to a real one, you're going to the community college, but you don't have a choice.
No, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's like, you're not college material. She's like, maybe you should get a job at the local Big Y. I was like, my parents pay taxes. Are you allowed to say that to me? Like I think that's like my legit response. Are you allowed to say that to me?
Are you
like,
even a good person after saying this to me also?
Like that's it. At 16 you peak. 16 years old, you have maybe 70 years left of your life. And at the age of 16 you peaked. Like there's no getting out of this. Like
who the fuck says that?
Who says that?
Her. I don't know who it is, but I hate her.
Just not very good.
Ugh.
Yeah, and considering that our high school, I think later on, so the years that I was there, our whole high school is under construction. It was a war zone.
Asbestos everywhere.
Asbestos everywhere. We didn't have finals as juniors. You were a freshman.
Yes.
Because they dropped the mercury thermometers. Great.
Loved that.
I'm out.
See ya.
Probably how I graduated.
Oh, we're out of school 3 days early? So horrible.
Yeah. Thank God I could finally live my life at the Fairfield Beach.
Seriously. No time for this.
No time for this at all. Yeah. So like, I was like, what the hell? So somehow I weaseled my way into WestCon, but then I learned very quickly that I was not college material. She might have been right. But, you know,
she wasn't right. No, I'm not giving her that benefit of the doubt. No.
The satisfaction. But, you know, I mean, one day I'll write her a letter. Just not yet.
Not yet.
I need another degree and then I'll do it. Just one more degree. And then I'll do it.
How about just like one more year after COVID? I feel like at this point.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now I got a pandemic under my belt. You're right.
That's it.
You're right.
What were you doing during the pandemic?
Yeah, what were you doing? Staying home?
Ugh.
Or were you out in public?
Were you real safe?
Yeah. Were you wearing a mask? You probably put it under your nose. Like,
I can't even get into that.
No.
That's for another day.
Yeah. So I went to WestCon and I was there for like maybe like 2.5 years. And like, I remember like at one point, like after like my second year, I was like, okay, let me sit down with the nursing department. And I was like, I said to them, how do I get into nursing school? And they looked at me and they go, you will never get into our nursing program ever.
All
I was
right.
like,
So
great.
now this is the second person.
This is the second person now telling me this. I was like, okay. So I packed my bags and I left WestCon because I was like, this is a waste of my time. And then somewhere along the way, someone told me about an LPN program, licensed practical nurse. So I went to the LPN program and it was wonderful. I was like, okay, this solidifies that I want to be a nurse.
Cool.
The program was like 18 months. All my professors there were like wonderful. They were encouraging. And I was like, okay, I want to be like you guys, like for sure. And so like the way they promote the LPN programs is like, okay, you become an LPN in 18 months, you take a couple sciences, and then you can go into an RN program.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Okay.
If anybody's trying to do it, take your notes because that's not how it works. So what they don't tell you is that like in order to get into an RN program, like one of the programs I applied to had 111 LPN applicants for 7 spots. It was nearly impossible to get into. Impossible
To start helping people, pretty much, is the only thing I hear. No, we're going to make it impossible to get more help in this world.
To get more help. The reason why like there's like you can't get in, like nursing school is so competitive is because there's not enough teachers to teach. So you have to like, in order to teach at a university level for nursing, you have to have your doctorate in nursing.
Oh, wow.
So not a lot of people like DNP, doctorate in nursing, like professional, something like that. DNP has just started to come around the last like maybe like 20 years or something like that.
I don't
like,
think I've ever heard of that type of doctor before. Like a doctor is a doctor.
Right.
None of that.
Yeah. So there's like PhDs and there's like different. So like now you have to have that. So not a lot of people have that because it's a lot of schooling. I mean, it's a lot of research and schooling.
A lot of debt.
And like you're doing that to get a teaching salary.
Right.
Like,
right.
It's probably not.
This is really cool.
But they need them. So like every program was limited. So, and I think I was taking prereqs for about 3 years. I was taking A&P 1, 2, chemistry, micro, statistics.
Because they didn't tell you needed all those prereqs either. Like,
you didn't.
No, you just
like,
transitioned over.
It's so easy. And I'm like, okay, this is coming from a kid who like didn't take any math in high school. I had to like teach myself math, teach myself science. I had none of this. And you know, you're in your mid 20s at this point.
Right.
So after
when you really want to learn.
And so after like.
And those prereqs are hard.
They are.
Prereqs are hard.
So hard.
I just got my associates and like it's been hell.
Yeah.
Thank God for Google.
Yeah.
Thank God for Quizlet with all those answers.
100%.
Got me through business 1 and 2, business law 1 and 2. Like
that's how you get through it. I mean,
Jesus.
Life is a whole Google engine. You will never be like in a situation. Well, I mean, I guess you could be in situations where you don't have Google, but at this point, everything in life you can look up and like take the time to research. That's why I don't understand like when you take tests, like in school, like why can't I have my resources with me and like look it up? Make the test a little bit harder.
When I'm in the real world, I will have resources,
right? And
I will have Google.
You will have Google at this point. I mean. That's like what I say about nursing. Like they make nursing feel like when you're in nursing school that you're like on a deserted island and 87 people are dying. Like, and you have a stick. What do you do? And you're like,
what do you do?
I don't know. And they're like, exactly. That's what you don't know. And you're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I'm like, who do I see first?
In reality,
it's not that.
Is not like that.
No, at all. So the prereqs, so I took 3 years and I kept retaking them because I would fail them, or like now the programs want you to have a B+ or better.
Right.
And by a B+, they mean an A+, because there's the next girl behind you getting an A+.
Right.
But what I didn't realize was that my WestCon GPA was a 1.8.
Right.
So someone along the line was like, yo, your WestCon is holding you back. You will never get into a nursing program with a 1.8. I'm like, will you people stop telling me I'll never get into a nursing program? Like, this is enough.
Enough.
Enough is enough.
Oh, man.
And so then that's when I was like, you know what? I went to UConn Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I had like the most wonderful education.
Cool.
It was encouraging. It was enlightening. It was a diverse campus. It was liberal. I was the minority, and just opened your mind to so much stuff that I never even knew about.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is college. Like,
this
is
for sure.
This is what people talk about. And I got my degree. It's called Human Development and Family Studies. So you really, studied the humans and psychologies and children and families and all this stuff. And it was basically free therapy for like 2 years. And you're just like, wow, I tormented my parents. I was like, what type of family unit do we have? Mom's like, I don't know, an Italian one.
Do you mean what kind of food did we eat?
Right,
Like, can you be more specific?
This was a good family, okay? I did not pay for a liberal college for you to come at me.
Your father and I love each other very much.
Yeah, this is a healthy environment.
And meanwhile, you're like, okay, that
Okay.
I know what that means then.
Yeah. You like learn these like things. I'm like, I understand what you are saying.
Yes.
However, I feel. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like, what did we do? What
Or
did we do?
why did you do this to me when I was younger?
Yeah.
Why?
You forgot to hug
Why?
me when I was 7, when I fell. Therefore, I have attachment issues.
This is it.
She's like, what's an attachment issue?
I told you to get it up and
Yeah.
shake it off.
Yeah.
You know, get up and shake it off.
She's like, you have separation anxiety since you were like 5. She's like, my parents can't, like, my parents literally cannot go on vacation for longer than 4 days because I go into full blown panic. And like, she's like, what are you talking about, an attachment issue? She's like, you're too attached. I was like, exactly.
That's why I didn't hug you. I was trying to help
Yeah.
you.
I was pushing you, but I wanted you to love me. She's like, this is ridiculous.
This
But
is ridiculous. We're
this
done.
is terrible.
Oh my God.
So, but then I came out of UConn, and like that was like the first time that like professors and teachers were like, "You're doing a good job. Like you're really great. Like you have a good brain, and like you're
About
not
time.
Yeah.
It's about time.
like 26 years old. You finally get some validation that like you're doing okay.
You're a good person.
You're not a terrible person."
Ugh.
So I came out of UConn with like a 3.8. So I was like,
Congrats.
"Great, thanks. I killed it."
Good for
It's like,
you.
I'm doing this.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And I sat down with my advisor. He goes, okay, like, what do you want to do? So now I was still working full time as an LPN. I was now, 5 years into my career. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, I still want to be an RN. So I had to retake all my science courses because they expire after a certain amount of years.
Oh my God, you can't win.
You
just
like-
you can't win.
Tooth and nail. I like clawed my way into this. And so like my
You gotta
first
stop telling people you want to be a nurse. You have to be like, no, I want to be an accountant, and
Yeah.
that way they push you towards nursing.
Yeah. Wait, I was a marketing major
Oh yeah.
for like a semester at WestCon.
Oh.
Definitely, like I had to sit there and we had to like balance a mortgage for like a semester, and I'm like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Like the columns and the lines and the numbers.
Oh, the T charts. Yeah.
I don't even know. They were just
They're
bad
awful.
charts. And like Excel, I'm like, I can't do Excel. The tab and the number and the
It's not for you. It's,
No.
It's not for a lot of people.
no. I'm like,
I love it, but like that's because I'm like OCD. I need everything to be like in order at all times.
Yeah.
But I can definitely understand how people are just like not interested.
Mm-mm.
Not interested.
See, it's how people's brains are wired,
Mm-hmm.
which I learned in my liberal UConn school.
Yes.
What type of learner are you? So, but it means
I-
a lot. I mean, if that's what works for you and that's
Right.
what makes you productive and makes you feel validated, then you should do it. Like
Right.
you feel successful. Like, great, I understand this. This is how I could do it.
Well, congrats. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you like really pushed through.
Mm-hmm.
You persevered, you like did what you wanted to do, and fuck everybody along the way that told you wouldn't amount to being the nurse that you are today.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you guys. And here you are. So where did you start out after you became a nurse?
A nurse. So then I finally got into Quinnipiac School of Nursing, and I did my nursing in 1 year. So then I
Wow.
became a nurse. So then I went to, so at that point now I was an LPN for 7 years. I worked in long-term care, and I loved it. I loved Alzheimer's, dementia. I liked hospice. I liked it.
You're crazy.
I know.
I loved it. They never knew who I was. It was
No.
really good. Or they were dying. No big deal.
It was like a different story every day. I don't know,
Oh
but
my God.
you know what it is? You start to learn like little like idiosyncrasies about people. And, like I thought it was like, I knew how each of them liked their coffee or how they liked their pills. And like, I liked that. Like they felt like home to me. Like they were,
Mm.
there's some that I hold still very close to my heart. And I think about them and I'm like, oh my God, like I loved them. Like they were just like my little dreamsicles. And
That's
it
really
was,
nice.
I had a good experience in nursing homes. I know they get bad reps, but like, I never really saw anything bad. And like where I was like, oh wow, this isn't good. But
Minus a couple bedpans. No big deal.
yeah, I mean, like everyone poops. I mean, some people I probably wouldn't be happy if like my grandmother sat in her poop for like 2 hours.
Oh,
but
no.
like I also understand there's 64 people on the floor, so it's
Right.
going to take a little while to come and get them cleaned
Exactly.
up. So like, sorry.
I know.
Yeah. But so after that, so then I got a job at the hospital, like on a major surgical unit. And I loved it. I was like, oh, great. Like, this is it. And like, I had to switch my brain from like people who were like just there, chronically ill, to like someone sick now. So I remember like a nurse training me. She's like, no, you need to do something now. I'm like, oh, because usually like I just wait for the doctor to come in like at 5 o'clock. And they're like, this person can't breathe. I'm like, oh. Okay.
That makes sense. Okay,
I'm gonna call someone now.
All right. Right now.
Yeah. So that was like the hard thing, and like
the
dosages were different. Like we used to give like little baby doses of like morphine, like pain meds to people in nursing homes. Now they're like give 8 of morphine. I'm like, all of it? Like I remember being like, can't breathe.
Are you sure though? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm like, really? Because usually
and you're giving it to him like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, please don't
please
die,
wake up.
don't
please
die.
wake up from this.
Yes, like just please. I'm like watching the monitor. I'm like, okay, we're good.
I remember being on morphine after my C-section. It was the worst.
Yeah.
All day with my family coming in and out, like,
oh yeah.
mouth open, like there's no part of your body you can control at that point. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So I also thought I know we're getting a little off track, but I thought when they give you morphine, they're like, oh, here's the button. I thought it would only come out if I push the button. So that's why I was wondering all day why I was so drugged up. I'm like, I'm not even pushing the button. And then my mom's like, you're still getting it. And I'm like, I told them I didn't want morphine. And then I go into like this whole thing.
Yeah.
So like all day I thought I wasn't drugged. I thought I was just tired.
So it's like there's like different settings on the pump. So you can have a continuous that just continuously gives you like a little bit of dose. Yeah. Plus you can push the button and you can get a little bit. Yeah. So you can only push the button, like it's called like a lockout. So like it's like either like 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 minutes. It depends. Mm-hmm. So like we have some people that just like know how to like work these things. Like they set their phone every 6 minutes and like hit it. I'm like, do you even need it?
Stop.
Listen.
See, I'm not a druggie. Like I understand people are obviously about that, but like I'm not. So I just like in my mind, I'm like, how? I get anxiety taking regular pills, like ibuprofen, too much.
Yeah, I take Tylenol and I'm like, hi. I have no tolerance for meds. Like I took an Naproxen and like I was like slurring my words.
I can't take muscle relaxers because it makes me feel weird. And then I get anxiety from it. So it's like I'm better off not.
Yeah. I took one Percocet in my life, and it's when I had my wisdom teeth taken out and I was 16. And it made me throw up with like your wisdom teeth.
Oh, you can't really. Oh my God.
Awful. It was awful.
Dude, I also feel like they used to just push drugs on us from the dentist when we were younger. Like they don't do that now. They were just like, oh, you want some Vicodin? You didn't like the Percocet? Yeah. Okay. Oh, your tooth hurts? Okay, here, just take this.
Yeah.
I'll be like, do I really need it? He's like,
yeah.
In case for the pain. I'm like, okay. And I took it. And I'm like, I'm literally just constipated. I still have pain. Like literally, this isn't doing anything for me. But thanks, I guess.
Well, why do you think we have an opioid issue? They pushed OxyContin like it was Tic Tacs in the late 90s, early 2000s. Jesus. Granted, they didn't have enough. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think doctors go into practice to harm people.
Right.
Do I think some get greedy with kickbacks from pharmaceutical companies?
1000%.
But I don't think all of them were like that. I think they truly thought, hey, great, there's this new medication on the market that could help chronic pain. I think that it started being given for acute pain, and then it just turned into this whole opioid epidemic, which we still continue to see. And I actually think that the benzos is like worse. Like everyone is on like a benzo, like a Xanax, an Ativan, a Valium. Like Valium's not a benzo. Lorazepam. Whatever.
I don't know which ones are or aren't.
I think that is. Pretty sure. Yeah. But it's a muscle relaxer. Anyway, but they
it's all the same shit.
They all come in on it, and it's just like it's really like the wild, wild west. And it's sad to see like when people come in and they're just like, then they're on the methadone and they're also on this, or they're on Suboxone and then they're getting Dilaudid. And it's just like these people, to me, it's sad that they have to push a button every 6 minutes. Like that's a sad life to me to live. Yes. Like a big part of why I got into nursing too was because of addiction and people that were close to me who had addiction problems. And I truly have like such an empathy for addicts and their families and what they go through.
Definitely.
It's really, and most people have an addict close within their close circle. And it's never like somebody woke up one day and was like, you know what I'm going to do? Heroin. No one does that. Today is the day. It is the day of heroin.
Today's the day.
No one does that.
Where do I even get that? Like, I wouldn't even know where to start that whole process. So it's very much where you're at.
I mean, if you give me an hour, I could probably find somebody with heroin.
I think I would need a couple days, and then I might give up. I mean, that's me personally, but I mean, like,
I don't know. I think I know a couple people that can probably find a couple people who know a couple people who get me some heroin. They would be a lot of questions, like, really, you want this? But yeah, why not? Yeah.
Today's the day.
Today is the day. So, like, but you know, like, addiction runs very deep, and there's a lot of deep-rooted issues, and everyone has a story. And I try to tell, like, the new grads that I train, like the new students that I train, I say, listen, we only see these people for like 72 hours, but there was like 30 years of crap before this.
Very true.
So they come in this hospital angry, upset, they want their meds, they want this, they're demanding, blah, blah. This isn't about us as a provider. I said, this is who they are as people. And like, are they terrible people? Do they treat others poorly? Yes. But like, there's reasons behind this.
Right.
Does it make it okay? No. But like, there's a reason behind it. So I always say that with like addicts. Like, sometimes I take the time and I'd be like, listen, like, I'll tell them like my story of what I know with addiction.
Yeah.
Just so they can be like, at least you have somebody that understands.
Right.
And I'm not judging you.
It's important when you're healing from anything.
Right. It's like no judgment. Like I feel you. Like I feel bad for you. Like I know like you probably don't want to be in this space, but you don't know how to get out of it. And I get that. So like fair.
And everybody is given like anxiety meds now. Like I feel like a lot of people in certain areas they're just, that's how they live their life all day, every day. Just like zombies a little bit. Not zombies so much, but you're not allowed to like feel.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a crazy life to live.
Yeah. Therapy is so underrated. And, you know, I've had generalized anxiety since I was in elementary school, having full-blown panic attacks. And it truly was separation anxiety from my parents. And actually, another funny story was I remember I would go to the nurse's station almost every day. Every day I go to the nurse's station and be like, Mom, come pick me up. Like, I'm not, since elementary school. And
poor kid.
Hated it. And like, the nurse, she had to be like in her 80s. She was so old. She wore all white. And I remember she like looked at me. She goes, you come to the nurse's station so much that you should become a nurse when you're older so you can call your mom every day. Bitch. Noted. No.
Don't tempt me.
Don't. So maybe that was the first time I was like, oh, if I'm a nurse, I can call my mom every day. Great.
That's it. And I'll be able to heal her.
Yeah. Did it. One. Get me to nursing school. Like.
Oh my God.
But I'm actually glad that I was never diagnosed with anxiety as a kid, because I think now looking back as an adult, I would have been very upset if I was medicated as a kid.
Very much so.
Very much so. And so like, but you know, there was a lot of symptoms like having panic attacks in school and having stomach aches and headaches, and I couldn't focus. And like, you know, everyone gets bullied in middle school, and like the bullying was so bad. Like, granted, I probably wasn't the nicest person either in middle school, but like the bullying was so bad in school that like I would throw up. I would have like stomach pains, and like it just like was not good. And then like by the time I got to high school and I was like, okay, like I'm a little bit like a teenager, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Because this is
and I'm
too
also not
much.
going to take your shit either.
And I'm not going to take your shit. So then I just became argumentative, and I always stuck up for myself too.
Right.
I always was like. I remember, I was just telling somebody about this too. I remember in middle school, like this would never happen now, but I remember in middle school, like I would get in trouble for my reaction. So I remember there was a boy behind me and he was touching me. He was like, look how fat you are. Look how fat you are. I go, shut the fuck up. I was like 14.
God.
No, I was like 11. And they're like, I remember the teacher goes, Michelle, you need to be a bigger person.
In what sense?
In what sense? But then, of course, like
in
she
his
is,
sense,
yeah, she is the bigger
sense?
person, and
right?
I was like,
that's what I'm saying. So that's really good. Thank you so much for saying that.
Great.
That didn't make anything worse.
Yeah.
In this situation.
Thanks, asshole.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so, can I tell you how many times I sat in ISS in school suspension in middle school because of my reaction? I'm like, why aren't they sitting in school? Like,
it's bullshit.
They tormented me. There's a group of boys I still remember to this day, and I'm like, just awful, and like body shaming you, and they would touch you. Like that would never,
especially in our white town. Like, let's be honest, it was a very white town growing up, and like the guys were horrible because I was never skinny either.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, go fuck yourself. Really? Is this all you have to do with your pathetic life?
Honestly.
But like in the moment, you're like, oh my God, this is horrible.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah. And when we were in middle school, the style was what's in style now.
The low rise
the crop tops, and like the belly and the Britney Spears, and like, you know, like that was like hard, like body image, and like that was always difficult. And I was this size in middle school. I was huge compared. And my best friend growing up, she was like, to this day, she's like 5
She
foot,
was tiny, yeah.
97 pounds soaking wet. We look like frickin' frat. Freaking frat. And she was always so cute. She's like, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, you have to say that because you're my best friend.
That's a really good friend.
She's
though.
always such a good friend. She's always the first one to be like, you look so pretty. I'm like, you're a liar, but thanks.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No, I felt the same way. I had a best friend who was like popular. All the boys loved her. And I'm just sitting here with my huge ass and huge tits. Like, all right, good thing this is really in with the times.
Yeah.
Flash forward to now when this is acceptable.
Yeah, now it's acceptable.
And we're thriving.
Yes. Yeah.
But we already have trauma from the past.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Let's bring it with us.
Bring it with, yeah. So like
no big deal.
Now it's fine. Like you grow into your body. Like in my like late 20s, early 30s, I was like, it is what it is. I'm 5'7". I put on heels. I'm 5'11". I mean, you can't change it. And like, I'm just not gonna be like burdened or like held down by this nonsense. It is what it is, which I hate that quote. But
I know. It
just is my body. But
and you're beautiful.
Oh, God bless.
Just
Thank
like
you.
I feel like before I had my baby, I felt beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel okay now, but like
you created life.
Yeah,
Our
I know.
bodies
I know.
Create life.
I know.
Yeah. And it supplies life and it feeds life. I mean, like think about what your body does as a woman. Like it's an amazing thing. So
it's a fucking crazy thing. Your body goes through, even just from being like, in middle school and then like growing up and getting your hormones. Like that's just like, that's a horrible process.
Terrible.
Guys get like angry and then they like masturbate a million times. But like girls, it's just like, it's horrible.
Happy, sad, glad, mad, violent, sad.
Violent.
Yeah.
But I'm okay now. I'm okay. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Because like you just like suppress it and just like be a cute girl. You have to be pretty. You have to be nice. You have to smile. You have to sit up straight. You have to let the boys like you. Boys like girls who are nice. It's like all this stuff that's like pounded into girls' heads, which you know what? Flip it. Growing up with a brother who he's very sensitive and very in tuned with people, the pressures that boys get too. It's always talking about the girls and our issues because we're very open about it. Boys suppress. There's this great book. It's called Guyland. And Guyland talks about all the things that boys go through. The pressure, sports, college, success in careers, sex, everything. It's drinking, being one of the guys, man up, all this crap. And it's actually like when I read it cover to cover within like 4 days. And I was like, whoa.
That's how good it was.
That's how good it was. And my brother read it in like a day. He's like, I wish I had this when I was 13. Because it was so interesting. Like, because boys can't show emotions. And, like one of the worst things you could say to a little boy is like, man up. Man up. He's still shitting his pants. He's 6.
The fuck is he gonna do right now?
What's he gonna do? He's 6 years old. You're the man of the house while daddy's away. The fuck he is.
Cool.
Sorry, I don't mean to swear.
Well, no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. Dante needs to read this book.
Dante, he's gonna be such a good kid. I think he's gonna be an engineer.
And don't you love how you're just like, he can do no harm?
That's he's gonna be like the pinnacle of like perfection. No.
I feel the same way. It just happens.
Yeah. I try to teach him, like I try to like be very conscious of like things I say to him. So like him and I, which I've been doing since I was a kid, unknowingly that it was like a thing, but I used to walk around barefoot like in the grass and I used to be like, oh my God, I could feel the earth. I could feel the earth. And I feel like I am one with the earth. And I would sit and I would like thank Mother Earth. I'd be like, thank you, grass and trees. My mom probably thought I was for sure on drugs. Like she probably would watch me out the window being like, is she on acid?
It's that medication was a gamma-globulin.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's what did it to me.
That's
like,
what did it.
That's
it brought
what did
you
it.
down
Yeah.
into the earth.
She's like, this kid's a freak. But so like I was with him the other day and we were sitting in the grass and I was like, Dante, say thank you, Earth. He's like patting the earth. And I was like, you have to be nice. Like I tried to be like you're so kind. You're so nice. Thank you for being so nice to your auntie. Like instead of being like, oh, you're so strong. You're so big.
Right,
what a boy.
Well, with Jasmine, I'm always conscious of what I say. I'm like, oh, you look so pretty right now. And I'm like, and you're so smart.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Do you see who the vice president is right now? You are going to do that.
That's it. You could do anything
you can do anything you want. Like it's just
except for spit your water back into that bowl. I swear to God, if you spit your water into that bowl one more time, That's usually how it goes.
Yeah.
It's the constant up and down.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal.
NBD.
Oh my god.
But it's important, like things that you say to kids and the messages that are sent to them. And it's like, obviously you're not going to be perfect 1,000% of the time, but it's like, I think if they're just like, wow, I am smart. And you know, like, because like when you go into schools and they're telling you, you know, you're not smart, you're in the dumb classes, the boys are calling you fat, but it's also your fault because you're reacting. Go sit in school suspension.
Right.
Think about your reaction.
Right.
What? How in the mind
that is so messed up
warp is this? Like,
No.
that is not okay.
That is not okay.
No.
At least like the kids these days don't have, I feel like they don't get bullied. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just a different form of bullying. Maybe everything's very much like social media related, but it's just, I feel like they're not the same. Like,
no.
Like kids aren't as angry as they used to be, at least like boys anyways. I don't know.
I think it's worse now because think about it with social media, they never get a break.
That's true.
Like at least like we didn't have the constant news feed. Like I even see myself like looking through like Instagram news feed and like the way like I'm always gonna be a girl inside being like, oh god, look at this girl. And like the clothes, the makeup, the hair, the money, the cars, the fame.
Right.
And you're just like, Jesus. You're just scrolling through this. And then even like the people you went to high school with. Wow, what a beautiful house they have. Wow, she's a stay-at-home mom. Must be nice. Wow, she looks pretty well with 3 kids. Like you just like
she's totally skinny again. That looks great.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. Like they look so happy like at the pumpkin farm.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so it's like this constant your brain, our brains never shut down. So think of a little malleable brain. I feel bad for them. Like we had like I remember my childhood before internet and I remember it after internet.
Right.
You got a break. So even if the kids were bothering you at school, it stopped. When you went home, it stopped.
That's true.
This doesn't stop.
No, it doesn't.
It's scary.
You're right. I changed my opinion now. I think, you know, it's just a different form of it, I guess. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not so in your face.
Yeah.
They'll just text it to you or post it on social media. No big deal for everybody to see, not just the people in that class.
Yeah. Or like think about like group messages, like, oh, I wasn't in the group message. Or if they're texting you, or now they could take pictures of you. I mean, it is wild. It's a scary world. And I feel bad for the kids.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Like their innocence.
Yeah.
Is really.
There's not so much innocence anymore.
No.
That's also another factor. I mean, I was exposed to certain things when I was younger that like took mine right away. But but I mean, like they can literally search for anything they want.
Anything.
I don't have parental restrictions on our iPad right now. Number one, because I was like, what's she really going to look at? But like number two, I'm like, we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
So at some point, I'm going to have to just like switch things around.
Block.
Where did this website go? I have no idea what you're talking about. I just watched something else. I don't know.
My friend has 2 kids, and like the little girl, the oldest one is like 3, and she likes these like little like weird YouTube clips, but like sometimes it goes into like weird stuff, and she's like, "Oh my god, I gotta shut this off."
It's so
like,
fucking
she goes,
weird.
What is this shit?
Dude, it's so weird. And the families that all do these shows together, like they're at a park just like playing pretend.
Yeah.
But they have millions of views. That's because my daughter is sitting there watching the same one. She's probably a million of those views at this point.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, do you think I'm not a good mom because I do this?
Oh my God. No.
I know I haven't taken you to the park because I'm dying of heat exhaustion, but I mean like,
no.
I know they're out living their best life.
No.
Poor kids.
I'm like, go put on Fraggle Rock. Like, come on, Fraggle Rock. Like, how cute.
She does watch Blue's Clues. She likes Blue's Clues, like the old one, like with Steve.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, just innocent. Now it's like all this weird like YouTube shit. You're just like,
so
sometimes I fall down their YouTube rabbit hole. I'm like, what am I watching?
What am I doing?
It's 4 o'clock in the morning.
What am I doing?
Watch like these like, what are those videos like with like the noise, like the popping and stuff?
ASMR. Dude. I can't stand listening to people chew when they eat.
Yeah.
And I watch one where this woman is blatantly chewing, like smacking her lips. I don't know why I keep watching it, though. I hate it.
Yeah.
But not her.
No, she's different.
She's different.
She's different.
She's also why I started eating king crab legs. But I mean, like, that's another.
Because they make them look so good.
Right. And they are so good. But like.
Yeah, but like.
It's like $500 for me to eat those king crab legs. So only on New Year's Eve now.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I know, it's so tough. I watched like the pimple videos.
Those are good too.
They're so good. It's so
Sometimes
gross.
I'm in a mood where I'm like, don't just flip, and then you never do. You're just like, but let me just see the beginning.
How's this gonna end? Yeah.
Maybe I can fast forward.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Love those.
If
I
I'm-
love popping pimples like on other people, and they're so
Yes.
gross. Like my husband gets so annoyed about it, so annoyed, like
love it.
angry, and I'm like, just let me get it. Just let me
Yeah.
get it. And then sometimes he'll be like, all right, that's enough. I'm like, it's still in there
It's
though,
there.
which is even more infuriating.
Ugh. I had this patient at the nursing home. I loved him. He was like my husband. And he had this blackhead here. We worked on this thing for like 2 weeks. We could not get it out because I couldn't like hurt him.
Yeah.
And they frown upon that. But he was voluntary for it. So like, and I would keep trying to get warm compresses, nothing. So I was off for a couple days and I came back in. He goes, I got it. I go, what? He goes, I got it out. I was like, oh man. He goes, I saved it for you.
So internally, I just threw up, but also
He put it on his like mirror shelf thing, and I went in there. He
my
goes, "There it is," and
God.
I was like, "Oh my God, his name is George. I love him. Thank you so much."
you were meant for that job. You were meant for that job.
I was like, "You saved it for me.
You're the sweetest.
Thank you." I mean, like little things.
It's the little things in life.
That's why
If
I'm in
you don't
therapy.
save your blackheads for your nurse, are you even a real patient?
Are you even a real patient? Are you even in this?
I think
with
we're
me?
gonna coin this phrase. Should we make a meme about it? Because it'll get 100 views, 100 million views.
Are you even a patient if you don't save your blackhead for your nurse? No, you're not.
No, you're not.
selfish.
You're selfish.
Yeah, he saved it for me because he
Rude.
was a G. He saved
I
it
love
for me
him.
for like 2 days. He was the best. I loved him so much. This was actually really sad. He lived in the nursing home with his wife. So the
Oh.
wife got admitted and he admitted himself too. So like he would pay so they had a room together. And then she died. But
Ugh.
he was at her bedside. And we used to say to him, his name was not George, but I'll be
That's fine.
George, you have to like come eat in the dining room with people. Like you can't. He was like, I will never leave her side. And I was like,
Oh my God.
I can't even get a text back. You're 92 years old and haven't left this chair. You probably have a bed sore. You need to eat.
Legit has bed sores.
Legit.
All over.
It was the saddest but the sweetest. He would just hold her hand and just stare at her.
Oh my God.
And then she passed. And he was never the same.
Of course he's
He
not.
was we would dance. We would do like little dances together, but he was just like, not today. And I'm like,
Okay, George.
George.
I know I'm never gonna replace her, but
George. No. I was like, but I have like I could dance better. But
oh man.
yeah, that was very like stuff like see like sweet moments like that. Like I get to see the tender moments.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The men, when their wives are sick, it's like goals. That's what you want. Like these men cater
Ugh.
to their wives. Like it is the sweetest thing. And a lot of times shortly after the husbands die of
Right.
broken hearts.
I hear that. I hear
Yeah.
that all the time.
The women, they don't even come see their husbands. She's like, oh, they're right. Okay, good. They don't even
so
come in.
I can just be with my boyfriend now. Right?
Yep. Yeah. They're just like, it's a whole new chapter in my life, you know?
Dye my hair purple.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going out for dinner on Saturday night. I'm
Oh.
like, get it, girl. Do you, boo boo?
So wait, are you still working in the surgical floor now?
Yes. So I'm still on the surgical floor. So how I remember COVID all starting to happen.
Yeah.
So it was like in January. And I remember I got a phone call from the off-shift supervisor, and she calls me up nonchalantly, like 6 o'clock at night. She goes, hey, how's your patient doing with coronavirus? And I, for a second, I was like, what?
Like, what do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that? So the way the story went was this woman stole a COVID swab from her hospital,
Okay.
swabbed her husband, ran the test. It came back positive. She brought him to our hospital. Somehow he got worked up to get his gallbladder removed. So he was on my unit, walking around the unit. So when she called me and I'm
Was
like,
he sick?
no,
Okay.
it was random. And I was like, that's weird. So then they told me the strand that he had, which wasn't the COVID-19 strand. It was like a different one, which I wrote in my phone just in case if I like died. I'm like, okay, I have it documented that I was like exposed to this. But I
Sorry.
freaked out and like I called my manager and she was like, lock the unit down. She's like, that's
right.
so what I did was I called the infectious disease doctor. It was a Saturday night. I called
Yeah.
him at home. And he goes, Michelle, did he travel to China? I said, no. He goes, then he doesn't have it. He goes, right now, if you traveled internationally, could you be at risk for it? China, a big risk.
Okay.
I said, okay. He goes, I go, all right. And he goes, well, what do you want to do? I go, I want to quarantine him. I want to put him in isolation.
Right, 100%.
He goes, then do it. So I called the surgical team. Now, don't mess with surgical patients. They want to operate on these people. Like, leave them alone.
Yeah.
So I called up the resident. And it's like one of like the lines that like we all laugh and like it will like live in infamy. And he literally looks at me and he goes, what are we going to do? Just start swabbing everybody who comes into the hospital? Actually, Sparky, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So they isolated this guy because at the time my friend was pregnant and she was like 7 weeks pregnant. I was like the only one that knew. So I'm in the back room on the phone with infectious disease going, I have a pregnant chick on this unit.
What the fuck do I do with her?
And she turned like white. I was like, listen, I think you're okay. But so that was like mid-January. Then I remember it was my nephew's birthday, the 28th of February. We had his party the 29th. Within like a couple days, first they were like, okay, we're never going to become COVID on this floor because we're surgery. We're going to keep the operating room open. Great. We're all private rooms. We're like, this is never going to go down. So within a couple days, we're like, just kidding. The whole hospital is COVID. So say if there's 300 beds in the hospital, like 285 of them were COVID.
Oh my God.
The amount.
But wait, so what happened to the other people that needed to go to the hospital for other reasons?
So they built a tent outside the hospital. Yeah.
Did you need your gallbladder out now?
Yeah.
We're doing it outside.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
There's a hot dog truck right across the street if you're hungry. That's
maybe after surgery.
Maybe after surgery.
We'll buy you one. It's on us.
It's
today.
on the house. Yeah, we'll give you some
Jesus.
cafeteria bucks.
I'm literally like picturing them like having like
a
doing
tent.
surgery in a tent with like gravel, you know, like
yeah. Well, I mean, like the operating room was open. It's just like afterwards they would go to like the tent. They wouldn't come onto the units because every unit was COVID.
Oh my God.
So like I try to explain to people, I'm like, listen, it bombarded the whole hospital system. So like there was no beds for anybody. And if not, you went to the tent, which was actually set up very nicely. Like we walked through it. We're like, this is a pretty nice job. All the pregnant chicks worked in there because they didn't know with COVID, like the pregnant chicks, they all went in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then I remember the day that like all the patients left the floor and all the COVID patients came on the floor and these people were sick. And you were just like, oh shit.
And the PPE wasn't that intense in the beginning, right? It was just like you had like a mask and like what? Like
like what were you dressed as? It actually like the opposite. So like when we first started, so we always had N95s. They always said, okay, you definitely need at least an N95.
Right.
And we would have the N95 and then like a hairnet. And then we put a surgical mask over that. Then we had a shield over our face, 2 gowns, gloves, and booties on our feet. And so like when it first started, we would put the gear on and then we would just sit.
What else are you supposed to
I was like, I'm not taking
do?
this off. I go, if I'm in it, I'm in it. I'm like, I'm not. Like we wouldn't eat, drink, or pee for like the whole shift because we were so afraid to take it off.
Right, because everybody around you has it.
The whole, every patient on the floor had COVID. I'm like, what if like one molecule just like binks? I'm like, and then you're done.
I mean, how could it not?
How could it not?
How could it not? You don't have air filters, purifiers, like any of that stuff installed in the rooms. Like,
because it happened so quickly.
Oh my God.
There wasn't enough time or money or resources to like fit these rooms as airborne rooms. We have 2 on the floor. So like those are like those rooms. I was like, all right, but which actually I'll tell you in a little bit. I actually got COVID from a patient in an airborne room.
Oh, good.
So
those rooms work really well.
And but so yeah, I remember just like sitting in this like gear and just like, you know, I ended up getting like black eyes and like sores on my nose, like because like the mask was like a little metal bar in your nose area.
God.
So like your face was breaking down and like you just felt like garbage. And the thing was, these patients were so sick that you had to be at their bedside a lot.
Ugh.
So like our amount of exposure was so much. And, you know, honestly, it was like the nurses and techs in the rooms constantly. Like the kitchen people would drop off the food. We would have to bring it in and then clean it up. We had to like tidy up the room, like physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. Unless it was like a dire need, they were not going in these rooms. So it was us all the time. More so the techs because they had to wash them and feed them and change them. I mean, we tried to like split it up so it wasn't like so much exposure to like individuals, but I mean, it was just a lot at like, it just hit you. It just happened overnight.
And like, how could you prepare for that too mentally? Like you have your normal like surgical floor. all of a sudden you're in like trauma pretty much.
Yeah.
Like it's a complete 360.
Yeah. My dad said it's like you're in war. He's like, you just have to kind of like put your head down and just get through it and then deal with it like afterwards. And, you know, like the hardest part for me as like a nurse, I'm not gonna cry.
Nope.
You know, these people in these hospital rooms, they're by themselves. The doors are shut and they can't see their families. And they have this virus that's all over TV. They have this virus, and then I'm not even kidding you. They'll be talking to you 1 second, and then within a couple minutes, they're flatlining, and you're like, "Whoa, wait a minute!" They just completely out of nowhere, they just die, and you're just
That's
like, "What the
crazy?
Wild!"
It's so fast,
and like now we know like people were throwing clots. They had a lot of cardiac issues. I mean, you watching them on the monitor, like their rhythms are all wonky, and you're like, what the hell is this thing? Like it's hitting every system. Kidneys were blowing out.
That's crazy.
The heart, obviously the lungs, and like people ask me all the time, like as a nurse, like what's like the worst thing you've ever seen? And like honestly, I said this for years. Like when people can't breathe,
whether you're a nurse or not,
you're just like I even start heavy breathing, like thinking about it. Right. You're just like you don't know what to do, and like you just watch these people like circling the drain. And you're just like, shit, like this Jesus. And they've just died alone in hospital rooms. And like, even like your worst enemy doesn't deserve that. Like that's what I felt bad. Like now, like we walk past the rooms like, hey, like, do you need water? Do you need anything? It was quiet. And all you heard were the beeping of the oxygen machines, like the continuous pulse ox, which check their oxygens, which we attached to their fingers and we ran the cords outside the rooms.
Oh my God.
So you would just hear like beep, 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 beep. And like, you're just like running to the alarms to see. And then they're in there and you're just like, okay, like now you're just triaging.
Because at that point, you also don't know how to treat it either. So their anxiety must be through the roof. They don't know what the fuck is happening to them.
Right.
Neither do you though, or any of the doctors or anybody. You're just like trying to help in any way. That must have been horrible.
It's really... like there's so many things that go on in your head as a nurse. So like when someone dies, if you weren't prepared for it, like if somebody codes, afterwards you kind of go, what did I miss? Like, did I miss a lab value? Did I miss a test? Did I miss a symptom? Did I not assess them right? There's a lot of like, I put a lot of guilt on myself. Like, what did you do wrong that you missed this? And you sit with that guilt. And like with COVID, there was like 2 to 3 people dying a day on our unit alone. Like there was like, we like ran out of body bags. We had no more body bags for people. I mean, like,
oh my God,
the amount of death, like people can sit there and talk about their numbers all day long, but like your brain will never get used to dead people dying and preparing dead bodies and like doing that. And like the refrigerator truck. I mean, these are all things that you're just like, okay, is this happening?
Is this really happening? Is this for real?
Is this for real? Like that's what it felt like where you just felt like this felt like the Twilight Zone. And just the amount of people dying every week, every day, I was like, this is really something serious.
Right.
And yeah, it just wasn't good. And I tried to think of like the happy times, like the good things, like the positive, right? So the positives in it were the teamwork. So we have a very strong team on our floor anyway. We got very, very close. We had a group message that really helped us get through it. I have a lot of new nurses. I have a lot, like as if I own the floor. There are a lot of new nurses on the unit. Yeah. And I give them so much credit and respect because at the age of 22, 23 years old, I couldn't handle that.
Yeah, just coming on like, hey, welcome to... Oh, by the way, there's a pandemic, so... Risk your life. Here you go. This is what you signed up for.
Welcome to nursing. You're going to really make a difference, but probably next year.
Next year.
Just get through this. But
if you can make it through this.
Without
anxiety meds and depression meds, no big deal.
You'll be fine.
Oh my God.
So one of the girls, her first day off orientation was COVID. Not good. God. And so
she didn't even have any time.
No time to even like process it. She was just thrown into it.
Oh my God.
And they just held it together so well. Like they started like a lot of hospitals will do this, like hope huddles. Like we did like quotes in the morning. We did like a positivity quote board in the back. And we would do like a lot of like verbal encouragement to like one another, like if somebody like wasn't doing well. And like I remember I texted them like this whole big thing about like death and dying, because I dealt with a lot of death and dying at nursing homes and stuff like that. And I just said, listen, our brains and bodies, like you don't go to work every day and people die and you just be like, oh, okay. Like it's, you have to process their death. And like there was like one time I was like working in the nursing home and like I just felt like a lot of people like were dying. And I was just like, and I was at my friend Christina's, she had a barbecue, like a picnic or whatever. And they're very strong in their Christian faith and their pastor was there. I said to the pastor, I said, I'm really having a hard time with death and dying and like I don't know what to do. And he said to me, which sticks with me, he goes, isn't it so nice that they choose to die around you? Yeah. He goes, what an honor that they chose their last moments on this earth with you. Yeah. And I literally go, that sounds really nice, but I don't want them to choose me.
And also, here I am, probably like full blown in tears because I would be like, oh
I am unwell. I can't. I'd stop picking me.
Stop
it.
I love you, but don't do it.
Stop it.
Can't you pick the one that doesn't care?
Yeah. I mean, like, I know I made like funny jokes in the beginning, but like I honestly, truly, like sometimes I'm just like, I can't handle this. Like, I just can't.
I mean, there's only so much. Like nobody, I don't think truly ever gets used to being around people dying. Like I don't know how these hospice nurses do it. Like I don't know. I really don't know.
See, hospice to me, the way I used to process hospice was most of the time they were like in their 80s or 90s, still viable, lovely human beings, but chronically ill. A lot of times they weren't with it anymore.
That's true.
And I was making them comfortable.
Okay.
And a lot of times these were the wishes that they wanted and I was carrying out the wishes.
So you can't be too upset about that.
A lot of times they had families around them. They had a beautiful life, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, a career. They had a full life. But when you're with like people like in their 50s and 60s with young kids and like still had a whole life ahead of them and they're in a hospital bed dying alone, that's the stuff that I don't think people understand because they weren't there. This is the front line.
Yeah.
Now take the emergency room nurses and the ICU nurses. Now the emergency room nurses saw every single COVID patient that came into this hospital, tens of thousands. They saw every single. Think of their exposure. The ICU nurses, they're the ones. All their patients died.
Pretty much, yeah.
Lines, tubes, flipping, turning them. I mean, those nurses went through a lot. I'm telling you, of like a 10-week experience I went through, there's still a unit that's still COVID in the hospital.
Really?
I say girls, but these nurses, well over 365 days, every day working with COVID. Talk about mental health and being like unwell. Like, I mean, I did 10 weeks and I'm still trying to mentally process through it just because there was so much dying.
Right.
And so the happy parts. I do this every time somebody does pass away. I take a moment and I say, thank you for giving me this moment. Like, thank you, and go to whatever light that you see. Like, thank you. And I try to respect the body. And so the priest would come around to the doors, which I thought was so lovely. And I remember the first couple times that he did it, we would just break down.
Yeah.
And the door was closed, of course, and he would like stand up against the door and pray for the soul. Just pray for the soul. And then he would come and bless our hands. Ugh. Like, I get like chills. Like,
ugh, God.
Like, thank you so much for doing that for us. Cause like we needed it. And like one of my girlfriends that works on the unit, she's only 23. She had 2 patients die within like 45 minutes of each other.
Jesus Christ.
And she just like, I saw her
brand new nurse.
Jesus. And she just turned and sobbed. And I was like, just go outside. Just go.
Like, what else do you do? What else do you do at that point?
What do you do?
There's only so much you can help somebody else before you need help, especially during that time. Like, Jesus Christ.
And
I wouldn't be able to watch the priest.
No.
I almost just full blown, like, really sped him.
Yeah.
Dude, that's because they can't go in and be with them either. So it was really nice that they just like took the time outside the door too.
Yeah. It's hard. And like, at the same time, my grandmother ended up getting COVID in March.
Oh my God.
And
Panicked? Were you panicked?
Panicked to another level because she wasn't in my hospital, which probably would have been a good thing because I probably wouldn't have been able to focus. But I almost wanted her there so I can like control the environment.
At least you could have been with her, God forbid.
Exactly.
Anything happened. Yes.
Yeah. So like there was like one day like my mom, so like my parents know not to call me at work because I immediately panic. I'm like, oh my God, everyone died. It's a tragic accident. Every single person I know.
Everyone.
And my third cousins are all gone. So she called me. So she's like, can you FaceTime me? And I was like, fuck. I knew she was calling to tell me that. I was like, my grandma died. I prepared myself. So I'm in the break room and I'm like FaceTiming my mom. Her face is swollen. She's crying. I go, what happened? Did grandma die? And she's like, no, but they want to make her comfortable because she can't breathe. And I'm like, fuck. I was like, no. I was like, so everything that I'm seeing is now happening to her.
Oh, God.
And I was like, she doesn't deserve this. Like, if anybody doesn't deserve it, she is like an angel on earth. She's like, I wish we're all like my grandfather. I wish we were like her because she's so calm and just sweet. And but she pulled through it. She did. I don't know how she did it. I actually had a conversation with my grandfather because he's passed. Mm-hmm. And the night before, he came to me in my dreams. So he comes to me in my dreams because he told me he would haunt me forever.
Okay.
It's fine. And he's living up to it. So
oh my God.
He comes in my dreams. He actually comes to me in my dreams when I'm like sad, and he like makes me feel better.
Oh,
yeah.
What a good guy.
Right? Yeah. He's
still a good guy.
Still a good guy. He's still there, holding up to his promise. So that night before, he came to me. He goes, I'm coming to get your grandmother. And I go, you better not. I yelled him in the dream. I go, you better not. He goes, no. He's like, I need her. He's like, I said to him, I go, I need her. You cannot take her. Then my mom called me that day and I was like, he came to me last night. He said he was going to come get her, but I told him not to.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So then he didn't come get her. He must have found another friend. And
or he was just like, okay, fine, Michelle.
Fine, whatever. You can have her for like another 45 years. Thank you.
I'll just wait.
It's fine. And so she recovered. Thank you, Jesus and all the Apostles' Creed, that she got through it. But, she's still on oxygen. She's still not like 100% well.
Oh,
yeah, God. She's going to be 86 in July, God willing. And, it's just she's older and she has asthma, whatever. But so like that was hard that day. And like, think about it. Like now I had to like wash my face and go back and work on this unit with people. I just cried through the whole shift. I would say to my patients, like, I'm so sorry right now, but my grandma's doing the same thing. And I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. Ruin my N95
and you're
mask.
Dying.
You're dying.
And what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. Like this sucks. Move over. Let me get in here.
Do you have a tissue?
Yeah. You're useless. No.
How horrible though.
Terrible. Just, Dude. It was really a bad time.
Meanwhile, everybody is sitting at home getting paid like double more than what they usually get paid to stay safe. Mm-hmm. And what were you guys getting? A pizza party, probably, because that's how we solve everything.
I love pizza.
Food. I mean, I fucking love pizza, but
yeah.
Why weren't you guys given anything? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like something should have been included. An extra stimulus, if not if not the weeks of unemployment pay that everybody got.
Yeah.
An extra something.
Yeah.
Oh, you got free Crocs if you signed up on Crocs.com.
Hey,
whatever.
I got a free pair of Crocs.
I did too.
I got a free pair.
I did too. I wasn't front line, but I was still on the phones working from home for the doctor's office.
I loved it, but you know,
like, where's
compensation?
Where is that?
Yeah, so it's like really funny, like the stimulus check. So it's like based on your income. So like I didn't get the full thing because I made too much, and I'm like, what in the what is this? But like, you know what
that makes sense.
Yeah, but no dollar amount I don't think would ever make it better or make any of this go away. Like I think like now you just have to deal with it, and like if I had to, I'd do it all again. I mean, it's part of it, and I hoped that I brought some peace and comfort to some people. And I saw, it's like the community outpour, right? So all the restaurants in the community, I mean, there was so much food brought to us that they had to put tables.
That's great.
And you just picked trays and trays and trays. And like, Donut Crazy brought their trucks there, sandwiches, donuts, coffee. For days they did that.
That's beautiful.
So think about, and like Bridgeport Fire and Police, they did a whole parade. They went to like multiple hospitals and did it. It was beautiful how they did it. And like you felt like, okay, like this is the community outpour that's like supporting me. And like I feel, you know, like all like the things that you see opposite of people who don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Great. Like this is the support that I needed. And
that's good.
Yeah, like I lived by myself. That was hard too, because like I didn't want to be around my family.
Right, because nobody was seeing their families that did work in the hospital too.
Right.
You were all segregated.
They were,
pretty
yeah.
much. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think I was rounding like 6 or 7 weeks, and my parents were like, "Get out of the house." So we would
To
go
where?
We would go to the beach. We would go to the beach, and what we would do, we would take separate cars. We would wear masks, and we would walk opposite sides of the beach. And that was like the only way. Like I couldn't hug my mom. Like I'm like a hugger. Like I lay in my mom's lap. Like 34 years old. I'm like, move over. My dad's like, you're disgusting. It's like, you're just jealous. Yeah.
That's great. That's
like,
great.
You're gross. So like I didn't hug my mom until after I got COVID, which was I got COVID end of October. I didn't hug my mom until like December.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like
you got hit with the second wave.
I got hit with the second wave. Ugh. So
what you would think you would have hit you in the first when you were so bombarded.
You
with
would
all
think,
of it.
yeah.
Oh
you would think my N95 mask that was like in shreds. That was like
the one you had, because God forbid you could find one anywhere else at that point.
I actually had cousins that were this. I had cousins that live in Pennsylvania, and she sent me like 4 N95 masks. Like, thank you so much. So like I had those, and like our hospital wasn't like too bad with PPE. They were like, yo, just like don't throw it out with like every patient. Like maybe hold on to it for like a day or two, and then like toss it out. Like, but
we'll get you some lights to sanitize.
Yeah,
it.
just like part of your daily tasks besides everything else. Like we will give you an extra calzone. I'm like, oh,
no big deal.
Thank you. I already put on the COVID-19. I put on 19 pounds.
No big deal.
Probably heading
What's
towards
another
diabetes.
calzone?
Fuck it. But just clean my own mask. God. No.
You're doing good at that point.
Yeah.
But then you got COVID.
So I got COVID.
Horrible.
Oh my God. So I got COVID the second wave. So like I said, we were only COVID for about like 10 weeks. And then the operating room started opening up like later on, like a couple months like down the room. Then it was like starting to get back on schedule. So
good.
The second wave was coming, which the smart people told us they were. And it was. And so we listened. So October, I started to kind of retract from people again. Even though we weren't COVID, I just still didn't trust because there was always some that slipped through the cracks.
Of course.
And on my unit at that time, we were wearing just surgical masks because we were non-COVID. Fine. They tested. They were negative. Cool.
Okay.
So I had this woman who came in who had a chronic cough, and they took her off her prednisone. So her cough got worse. That happens.
Okay.
She was COVID negative. Fine. So again, every hospital has different policies. So we were able to give breathing treatments to people, nebulizers, if they were negative. So she was negative. So I was giving her breathing treatments for 4 shifts. So for Thursday, Friday, the weekend I stayed home because it was second wave. I stayed home.
Yeah.
Monday, Tuesday, I was giving her nebulizers, and I would stay in the room and chit chat with her for a little bit. And then like she was the sweetest woman.
Oh.
Then Wednesday, I get the phone call. I was off. They go, yo, she tested positive for COVID.
Meanwhile.
I was like, fucking shit. I was like, this is it.
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 I mean, at that point, you're probably like, it's about time. Like,
I was like, you know what? I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I was so good. I was so mad because I social distanced. I wore my mask. I didn't go to parties. I wasn't
but it's
socializing.
good that you didn't,
right.
Especially that weekend.
Right, because I would have exposed so many people. Like I went to like a wedding. It was like an outdoor wedding, and I was so viscerally uncomfortable. I was like, this sucks. I mean, they did a good job because it was like the way they social distance everybody, but like I still was like, ugh, and it was outside, but I was like, I'm like, it's too many people.
Right.
But so then when I got COVID, so this is actually like really interesting, and like this is like the takeaway from it. So I was exposed Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So I called up the hotline. I couldn't get a test date till Friday. He goes, do not go near anyone. He goes, you are rapidly contagious. I go, but you don't. He goes, no. He goes, you will be negative on Friday. He goes, Monday, you will be positive.
Okay, cool.
I'm like, okay. So,
so I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for my body to just like decompose at this point.
Yeah. Just waiting for the gamma globulins.
The sores are coming out again. The
my
bruises.
eyes are yellow. It's all it's all full circle.
Full circle.
Full circle.
Give me the platelets.
Give me the platelets. God, I'm gonna bleed out. I knew it. Bastards.
Oh my
God. So then Monday. So then Friday I got tested. I was negative, and I went home. And it was October 30th. And I woke up on Halloween morning, like 2:00 in the morning, the sweat right down.
God.
Now you can put me on the sun with like 40 layers. I don't sweat. I'm not a sweater. So when I felt the one drip, I was like, this is it.
This is it.
I took my temperature 103. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I had a fever, chills all weekend long. Monday, I went to go get tested. And I said to the woman, I go, I am totally COVID positive. I go, I physically barely got here. She
Please,
swabbed me. My test.
I will swab myself. At
Just
this
don't
point.
come
Just
near
don't
me.
Come near me.
Positive. And then I was sick. I was out of work from October 27th till November 21st.
Holy shit.
Because my COVID turned into bronchitis.
Oh my
So I hit
God.
day 15 and I was like, I am not getting better.
I can't breathe.
I can't. It was like, so I had the fever, the chills, the body pain. The pain was so bad. I was swollen. And I'll show you the photo of my face. I mean, I was white and like puffy. My mom was like, are you like, she was so scared.
I haven't heard of that symptom, like the swollen side effect.
Yeah. And like the pain in my body, the only thing that would calm me down was like a bath. And like my mom would be like, FaceTime me while you're bathing because I don't want you to drown. I'm like,
but you have no idea where your attachment issues came from.
No, it just came from the sky. Like, just in case Whitney Houston died that way.
I don't need to look at you. I just need to know you're there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, my tub is like 14 inches. It's the smallest. Like my knees are to like my chest in this tub. There's no. If I tried to drown myself, I couldn't because my face would be out of the water.
I've never been fully submerged in one of those little tubs ever.
No, it's just like half my body was chilling anyway. I was like, oh. So. Like that was just terrible. The pain, like that was like my biggest thing was like the pain and the fatigue. Like there was like 3-4 days I didn't sleep. I was so tired I couldn't sleep.
Oh,
then I couldn't eat or drink. Everything tasted like metal, and I could only
lose your taste of smell, or that's just like a side effect, like the metal taste.
So like day 7 was when I lost my taste and smell,
so
and then everything was metal, and you had to just like literally plug your nose and just get like soup broth down.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I need electrolytes. Like, I need something. Because I was sweating so much from the chills that like I was like, I need to replenish. I should have. Imagine. I probably could.
Called one of your friends. Like, hey, can you just bring me a couple bags?
Yeah.
And an IV.
Every nurse has a setup.
Leave it at the door.
Yeah. That was the day I was going to choose heroin.
Yeah, that's it. That was the day. IV fluids, then heroin.
Got it. Uber Eats.
You missed an opportunity. You really did.
I chose that day.
Maybe you would have found a cure with the heroin.
You're right.
All these years.
It's right in front of us.
It's right in front of us.
Maybe the government did
tried.
it.
Nobody tried it, bet.
No, they didn't. They should have. It's ridiculous. Crap. Yeah. So then I finally and then so I never lost like my I never got short of breath, but I would get like stabbing lung pain.
Oh, Jesus
It would like go through you like a lightning bolt. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, it's a blood clot. Like, I'm going through all the nursing stuff. Yeah.
How could you not think that would be?
Like, shit. So, but our job, I don't know if like every job did it, but I was able to FaceTime with a nurse every day and go through all my symptoms and like my vital signs. And she's like, you know when to go to the hospital. I'm like, no, I know. So like I knew like that was good.
I?
Well, yeah, nurses don't. Like,
will I though? Will I self-medicate?
Yeah. I was like, I can handle this. Like, there was one time my brother bought out CVS. I mean, he bought my kitchen table was full of like every supply possible.
What a good guy.
And then he was like, I'm coming in. And I'm like, don't do it. I was like, save yourself.
Oh my God.
My sister-in-law was like, he was like, do not go in that house. she didn't even want me near, like, she didn't even want him near like my doorstep.
The front door, yeah.
I wouldn't even let them touch my door. I'm like, don't touch my door. Because I would like order Uber Eats.
Yeah.
And like I would touch the door and then like sanitize it. I'm like, don't touch the door. I was like,
touch it.
And then you know what the really creepy thing is? The woman who gave me COVID died.
Oh.
So my test came back positive on Monday. She died on a Tuesday.
Oh, God damn it. Oh.
Trauma. Trauma.
So you're like, am I going to die? Like, what if she had some weird strand? Because we don't know anything about this at that point.
Thank you. So that was tough to get through.
So sorry.
That was tough. And I knew she was the sweetest woman. And I know if she knew that she gave it to me, she would have felt really, really bad. Like, I know she would have felt.
I wonder if they told her. I hope they didn't. Like,
I don't think they would have. I think it would have been irrelevant for her and her story because she died. I mean, she was tested positive on a Wednesday and died on a Tuesday. That's how quick it went.
Dude.
Yeah.
Whoever manufactured this virus, like, really knew how to do it. It sounds horrible.
Every
but
organ.
Like,
every organ.
How do you manufacture something like that? Like, that's crazy.
It's I feel like it's something that we're never going to know the 100% truth to it.
No.
In the way that I still think about it to this day, I go, it doesn't matter where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
We were in it and we had to fix it. So to sit there and like do the blame game and like,
Right.
oh, it's this, it doesn't matter. It's here and it's affecting a lot
Right.
of people and people are dying. I don't care about your numbers and be like, well, this is like a 1 in a million chance.
No, okay. No, it's not, because there's
It
more
just,
than that.
like, yeah, it's just like, don't like get away from me. Like you barely graduated high school. Like I'm pretty sure you were like in the classes with me, like making animal noises, and now you're gonna tell me about research.
And now you're gonna, yeah, no,
I'm
No.
gonna say about that.
I know the amount of people.
And it's just like, sit this one out, please.
Just
like,
don't.
like-
I just know it didn't come from a bat. That's
No.
like, that's what I mean. Like, people have been eating bats over there for years. You think it would have come up by now? Like, no.
Like Ozzy Osbourne ate a bat, didn't he?
They're like infested with diseases, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden this is just gonna spring up. It just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me. So that's why I'm saying whoever
Yeah.
did this
Mm-hmm.
really knows what they were doing,
Yeah.
and I hope they're not like, oh, let's think of the next one. You know?
Yeah.
We need some time.
We just need some time.
You guys
Yeah.
need some time.
I still think like I try to look at like reasons behind everything more of like on like a spiritual level. Like
Yeah.
I just think like it was such a crazy 3 years at the time that and everyone was just attacking everyone, guilty as charged too. We were all going at each other and it was so heightened, the anger and the separation. Like our country was just so divided.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the earth was like, and God was like, yo, bitches, go sit in your houses for 2 weeks and think about what you're doing and pull it together. Like I was hoping the nation would come together.
Right.
And like we could all heal as one. And I feel like it made the division even more divided on like who believed it and who didn't. Who supports it, who doesn't.
And let's put the president campaign. I mean,
Yeah.
what am I trying to say? The presidential campaign. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Let's throw that in there too, right? At
Yeah.
like towards the end of it.
Yeah.
That way,
It's the salt.
just
Yeah. It just was a really tough time. And like
horrible.
it was horrible. And, you know, a lot of us just kind of unraveled and just we weren't well. And like I do feel bad for people who were home for the mandated 2 weeks. Like I do feel bad, but I think I would have taken it as like, great, this is an opportunity to kind of like woosah, take
Yeah.
a deep breath. Like even myself living by myself, I bought coloring books, I bought puzzles, I bought
Right.
reading books. I had to keep myself occupied. And
Mhm.
if I had children, I would teach them like, hey,
Right.
there's a whole world that doesn't revolve around you.
I loved it in the beginning. The first month I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I get to see my husband and be around my daughter.
Yeah.
Like, this is great. But like
Mhm.
a couple months in, I was like, okay, well, I'm
Is
ready to
anybody
get the
out
fuck out
there?
of my house
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Can I go? Because I was also like, I had my daughter in 2019.
Mhm.
So like once you're done like pumping and giving your life through your tits all day, every day, by that time when
Mhm.
COVID came, I was like, I'm ready to get back out in the world. Like,
Yeah.
no, you're not though.
Yeah.
Take another year inside your
JK.
house.
Yeah.
So like this year, after it was like kind of like, I mean, it's still here, but like after it was starting to seem better, I
Mhm.
was like, is this it? Am I gonna get to go to like a bar?
Yeah.
Am I
Yeah.
ever gonna go dancing again?
Yeah. I know. But they kept, listen, I worked with like the chief of infectious disease of like blah, blah, blah hospital.
Mhm.
And I remember like 3 weeks into it, I was like, how long is this going to take? And he goes, ooh, years. And I go,
Years.
excuse me? He goes, give it a good year. He goes, and things will start to kind of calm down. He
Right.
goes, but this is going to be around for years. He goes, but a good year. He was right. So we had a good year of like kind of just like social distancing and stuff to me.
Mhm.
And like to me, like during the holidays, maybe because I've always worked in jobs like where I worked holidays or every other
Yeah.
weekend, to me, like a turkey dinner just like wasn't worth it. Like turkey sucks. Like we'll see each other next year. Like I'm not coming to Thanksgiving because I'm mad at like Aunt Suzette.
Yeah, yeah.
We're not coming because I don't want to give you this virus. You
Right.
know, like it's just not worth it to
Exactly.
me. But like those are things that just like everyone I guess is different. And like I do feel bad about the quarantine because there's a lot of mental health issues. Like people don't have access to their mental health. They weren't picking up their prescriptions. They weren't seeing their therapists. People need people.
Yes.
You need to be around people. Children need to be around
Yes.
children. You know, like my nephew was born in 2019. So,
Mhm.
you know, now the baby's a year and like they get a little bit more comfortable. Like, okay. And like, I mean, his 1 year birthday, 3 days later, the world shuts down. So, I mean,
It was
he's,
awful.
not around his friends and his people that they could like goo goo gaga with.
Socialize, all that.
Mom time. She needs, time with other moms or to go out. There's
Preaching to the choir over here. We had our first date night after having her.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was October last year.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't give her to anyone.
Right.
Because of COVID. I'm not going to have a stranger come in.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my mom had major back surgery during COVID, which was really cool. Really cool.
Yeah.
It was Memorial Day, actually. She
Calming.
couldn't walk.
Oh.
And then like a week and a half later, she's having major back surgery. So,
Spinal stenosis?
She had a herniated discs and they just like
laminectomy.
They had to fuse 3 of her discs together. She's got a rod in her back now and everything.
God.
Like it was really bad.
She's doing okay now?
She's fine now, but like that's my main babysitter.
Yeah.
For like my whole life. Like this is who you're like my grandma was my main babysitter. Like this is who it's gonna be. And now it's like, oh actually I can't leave my baby with you because you can't really take care of her, which was horrible mentally for me too, because I'm just like, but you're supposed to be able to like not for my like not for my mommy time, but just for like my mental health. I'm like, I want you to have that with her. It's like oh my god, COVID's the worst.
It just it hit businesses went out. It's sad. It is very sad, but like to me a life will never, there's nothing that will ever, I don't want to use the word trump the life of somebody. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing that will come before a life. So like if a business went out, like that sucks, but like someone's mother died, someone's child died. Like that's how I thought of it. And like and I tried to be like empathetic towards others because I saw the worst of the worst. So I know not everybody saw what we were seeing.
Right.
So like our viewpoint of it was like, how are you not seeing this?
Right.
But you're not. So
but that's why you're here. That's why you wanted to come on, because you need people to know what really happened. You need people to know how many people you really saw die, how many people you've interacted with before they died, the priests that weren't even able to fully, release their souls into the world. Like it's just nobody really talks about that. They talk about quarantine.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so horrible. You just sit at home and get paid. No.
Yeah.
No. Well, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for being you. Like, thank you for being a nurse. And thank you for still wanting to be a nurse, because that means that you truly do want to help people and you do care. You didn't run away. Like, you're still doing it.
Still doing it. And I actually was able to work vaccination clinics. So I had to, like, through my own therapy, to close the loop and to heal, I vaccinated people. So I felt like every person that I lost as a patient, I was able to vaccinate and help save a life. And I felt like, to me, that was my own mental closure. And the people who were coming to get the vaccines were so thankful and happy, and they were crying and taking photos and telling me their stories. And I'm like, this, like, yay. Like that to me was like, that was like the cherry on top, and like the Allman Brothers, which is like the most random, but like, you understand, like the Allman Brothers live at Massey Hall, 1971, walking Silver Sands Beach,
got you through
at
it.
sunset was like the only thing that like mentally got me through it. That was like my peace moment. And like even now, like when I listen to it, like it brings me back. It's like I actually can't really listen to the album anymore, which sucks. It's so good.
You will be able to.
We'll be able to.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. I could listen to Blue Sky by Allman Brothers and like Melissa. I could listen to those songs because I don't think those were on. I don't remember. But just very good. You had to get through it, and that's part of it. So.
And that's why it's going to take years also, too, because not everybody wants to get the vaccine. They think they're being microchipped.
Yeah.
When in reality, we've been microchipped for years. Years.
Yeah.
No, they don't have... They want you to pay for your own microchip. They don't want to pay for the microchip they put in you. Yeah. So,
I mean, if you want to follow me to Target and, like, the gas station...
If you want to show me things that I'm going to want to buy, sure. Show them to me.
I am an advertisement junkie.
Let's do it. Yeah. I got that drying rack that goes over your sink like 2 weeks into COVID, because I've been looking at it for years. And they're like, hey, remember this? I'm like, yep, this is the time.
Dink.
Done.
Yeah. I just brought a crochet kit from Amazon because it was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I'm going to crochet. And I thought you could just like, it's actually really difficult.
It's very hard.
Wait, crochet or I don't know. It's like a wood circle and you put the fabric and then you like do all these like weird knots.
Oh.
Is it crochet? No, because crochet is like a blanket.
It's like a blanket. Yeah.
No.
That's very hard.
Macrame? I don't know.
Maybe it's macrame.
No, that's a blanket too.
Is it?
Whatever it is, advertisement. I bought it.
See, these are the things that our grandparents know that we don't because they've lived through all that shit.
My grandma's like, I had to make clothes for 27 people. And I'm like, I'm just trying to do a cross stitch. Like in a piece of fabric so I don't have another panic attack. I'm trying to stay away from the benzos. Like I'm just like
no big deal.
I'm just trying to stay out of the psych
Today's
ward.
not my heroin day, so I just want to stitch something. That's all I want to do.
I just want to stitch something.
That's so bad.
No. I took a pottery class.
You did?
Oh,
with the spinning wheel
with the
thing?
spinning wheel.
Oh, I've always wanted to do one of those.
It is so hard.
Is it satisfying in the least bit when you're learning or?
No.
Oh, fuck.
No. You like, and you'll watch a YouTube video and they're like, ba-da-da, and like they're doing all this stuff and like making like vases.
And then you're trying to do it and you're like,
You should see the 3 sad pieces that took me 6 weeks to make. Okay.
Oh, 6 weeks. So this was a long course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I made like 3 little dishes like this tall and this. I couldn't even get the things up. They were like, I gave one to my mom for Mother's Day and she's like, this is your mental illness in a craft. I was like, put it on the cabinet.
Put it in the cabinet.
Put it on the shelf and remember this moment. She's like, Jesus Christ.
Are you done with this phase yet?
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing this forever?
Yeah. She might have to listen to COVID forever. Yes, you do.
Start pushing him on Dante.
Yeah.
He's like, why do I have these really weird bowls from back in the day? Where'd they come from?
Yeah. He'll go to show and tell. He'll be like, hi, my aunt one time had 3 nervous breakdowns. It was called COVID.
And this is it.
This is it. And she gave me this beautiful gift and I love it. Like, that's because you're my king. I can't wait for him to I don't know. I have so many things I just like want him to say. Like, I just can't wait. Like,
I can't wait to see what type of person she's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's when you have kids or like when you're an aunt or something, you're just like, I can't wait to know what your side of the story is.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
Do you also think she's really fucking annoying or do you love her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, like, thank you for coming on and sharing the story. It's really nice. It's really nice to hear about it from your perspective. Yeah. Not so nice for you to go through it, but thank you for going through it for everybody.
Sure.
You know, thank you for continuing to want to help people.
Of course.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you ever need a mental health day, just let me know. Yeah. I'll come over with some wine.
Yeah.
We just got legalized, so like I'll bring you whatever you want if that's your pleasure.
That's right. Just, then you don't have to. It's no longer criminalized. Under an ounce? Is it under an ounce? Like it's not criminalized?
No, it's not. You can have up to 1.5 ounces in your possession, I believe.
Live
right
your
now.
best life.
Seriously.
Good.
So
that's the biggest point of it.
Yeah. Thank you. If anybody has any questions for Michelle, feel free to send them on over to me, and I'll direct you in the direction. And do you have any advice for any new incoming people that want to be nurses?
Just don't ever give up. It's a really difficult process. Not everyone's journey is a straight line. There'll be a lot of doors shut on you, but just if you truly want to be a nurse and like that's your true desire, like nothing will get in your way. It's really a lovely career, even after a pandemic. It is rewarding. It's challenging. It will bring you places that you never thought you'd go. There'll be blackheads left for you. Like,
if you're lucky enough.
If you're lucky when you have a sweetheart like mine. But, you know, it's really like, we laugh so much at the nurses station. It's such a camaraderie and it's really, really a lovely career. And you should, if you want to do it, if you have any questions, you can always message me on Instagram if you want to. It's fine. Any help with COVID issues or like mental health resources, you can always contact us, and don't ever feel like bad to like reach out. Like, you know, we all had a tough year, no matter if you were at home for 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 years. It was a tough year for everybody, and we'll get through. We're going to persevere. Get some vitamin D, go outside.
Yeah.
Get some Almond Brothers.
That's it.
Live it.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you
for having
coming
me.
on.
Thanks.
And thank all of you for watching. You're the best.